In a wreck and need a check? It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-9771.
All right, guys, should be good. I'm going to go ahead and make my thought here.
Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Hey, everybody, we say good afternoon to you. Suns and Cavaliers will play coming up here in just a little bit as we celebrate Martin Luther King Day, and the NBA is on all day. Also in the National Football League, the NFC-AFC Conference Championship games are now set, and the College Football Championship game is tonight. Welcome in, everybody. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. We are hanging out today at TPC Draftkings is where we are located, and we are loving life here. We are here sequestered nicely with about 625 big screens, all in. Well, okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. Give or take.
Yeah.
They're all on they all are on different games, and they are open for your listening, dancing, and gambling pleasure all today as we get set for the College Football Championship
What's
game.
the current line? Is it 9.5?
I think that's it.
It's about 9.5.
8.5, 9.5.
Yeah, somewhere like that. The guys here at the window trying to get my professional opinion about this game tonight, Notre Dame and Ohio State. I said, look, I just want to see a good game. Now, the thoughts, where do you think it'll cover? And I'm like, you know what? The way Notre Dame's playing, their defense, you look at Riley Leonard, the quarterback, kind of the de facto factor as far as, his escapability, his running ability. I just want to see somebody. I'd like somebody win by 3 points. I really would.
You want a close game.
I don't want to see any kind of blowouts, which we've seen the majority of the time in these national championship games. I think both of these teams, outstanding defenses. There's speed all over the field. Talent-wise, I give the edge to Ohio State.
I agree.
On the offensive side and defensive side. But you know what? The way Marcus Freeman's got this team being Notre Dame ready for these kind of moments, a little bit of a change, that they're not going to cow down, that they're going to embrace it and go after it. So I just want to see a good game, really have no horse in the race, But if I was going to root for a team, it'd probably be Ohio State. Probably leaning more with my Western PA roots, coming from Erie originally, even though I grew up in the Catholic school system.
I was just going to say, you're a Catholic dude. You have to root for Notre Dame.
I know.
You have no choice.
Yeah, but today I'm going to be, I guess I'll be that heathen for a day, you know. I've always loved watching Ohio State growing up. I've always watched the Rex Kern days. And you looked at, go way back, all the talent they've had. And then I'm always playing in the Rose Bowl versus USC. You know, you think of Slam the Bam Cunningham for USC.
Sam Bam Cunningham.
You think of all the outstanding talent. Brian Baschnagel, one of the great receivers for Ohio State. And I've always leaned, even though I'm a Catholic school kid for many years, I've always liked that Ohio State, like that Chrisman and Gray, if you will. So I guess if there's a team I'm going to root for, it's the Buckeyes.
Well, I'm not Catholic, and I'm still going to try to root for Notre Dame, just because it's been over 13,000 days since Notre Dame has appeared in a championship game. 13,000 days, Manuch. So, like I said, it's got nothing to do with religion for me, but I'm just a Presbyterian boy. That's all I am.
And some of the folks talking about the divine intervention.
Yes, I know.
Jack's talking about that field goal, game-winning field goal that the Notre Dame had against Penn State that kind of curved it at the very end. God's like, look, just leave me alone. Let me watch the game. Let me enjoy the game. Sit here in peace and quiet. Now, he might give you a little wink about this whole Notre Dame thing.
Yes.
If they win, hey, good for Marcus Freeman, good for the Notre Dame program and all the talent that they're starting to garner at that school.
Manuch, I thought of you yesterday watching the two snow games, one in Philadelphia, the other in Buffalo, and your days playing for the Buffalo Bills and playing on field like that.
Yeah, I slick. And the thing that was good about, a lot of these teams have indoor facilities, right?
Yep.
But a lot of times these coaches will say, okay, here's our conditions. Let's go outside, at least for one of the days, get acclimated, just kind of get used, because you get spoiled being indoors all the time. I know that McDermott sometimes will have the Bills practice outside so they don't get too comfortable with their confines. But watching that Bills game, the slickness of that field, when you watch the Buffalo Bills players in reference to where they handle their footing coming out of breaks, and classic case with that 2-point conversion to Andrews, the ball's a little behind him and low. But at that point, you got to kind of get your base up underneath you. And the ball is hard. It's slick. And I thought both quarterbacks threw the ball fairly well. That Lamar Jackson, excited for the one throw, I think they got away with him on the interception. And then on his attempt to try to scramble, if you don't put that ball away immediately and you're spinning, that ball flies out of your hands. So I could think of the Philadelphia game, and the Eagles were totally prepared, the way they ran the ball, the way they threw the ball, because they've been there and done that. The Rams have had limited success on playing in those kind of conditions. The cold you can somewhat handle, but your field conditions, you get so amped up and so excited, you forget to kind of gear down a little bit before you make your cuts. The advantage always goes to the offense when you get those kind of fields.
Absolutely.
And for you looking at like the Commanders going into Detroit, no problem, indoor facility. Problem is, I don't care how good you are or what seed you are, Jimmy, you cannot turn the football over 4 times and expect to win a football game. And that befell, I will say this, befell the Lions. Lamar Jackson almost pulled it off with the 2 turnovers. Who's to say they wouldn't have won that game if they tied up with that 2-point conversion?
I felt horrible for tight end Mark Andrews when he dropped that 2-point conversion pass. First thing that popped into my mind.
Can I tell you what it was?
Yeah.
Jackie Smith.
Yeah,
dropped at the back of the end zone.
That's it. Dallas Cowboys
versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
What would the announcer say? Oh my gosh, his heart must be broken right now, or something along those lines in reference to he's got to be broken up. That's the first thing I thought of. Jackie Smith, back of the end zone, great Cardinal receiver with the Cowboys for a year. Roger Staubach hits him in the back of the end zone wide open again, falling down.
Yep.
But
it hit him right in the hand,
yeah,
just like Mark Andrews, and that's the first thing that I thought of.
And the other thing too is, as a receiver, and Jax will tell you this, playing up in Montana, when you secure the football in that kind of weather, you got to tuck it away right now.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you got to catch and tuck it. Andrews is trying to make a play, and I forget number 43, the kid from Buffalo. They pretty much knew the weather conditions, so if they had a chance. If somebody was securing the tackle and you are running by somebody, let's say you can't make the tackle, and he's going to try that. They're going to try to punch the ball out, knowing how slick your jersey is, how slick the ball is. And lo and behold, they punch that ball out. They get the football. They go down and score. So the 3 turnovers by the Ravens, pretty much, even though they lost the game, they still had a chance at the end of the game. And then that extra onside kick, what an adventure that was for the Buffalo Bills, for Tucker to pretty much kick that out there, and for that kid to scoop it, smother it. Game, set, match. The Bills.
There you go.
The Bills moving on.
I knew you'd be excited about that. By the way, that brings us then to our State 48 Roofing. It's your call question of the day. The #1 referred roofer in the state of Arizona, and proudly serving the state with residential and commercial markets for over a decade. For a free quote, repair, or installation, just head to state48roofing.com. And, of course, you can always follow them on social media by searching #SexyRoofStatus. Here's the question. Now that the Washington Commanders have defeated the #1 seeded Lions, what chance do you give them to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game? And you have 4 options: 100%, 75%, 50%, or 25%. Just go to Roc and Manuch on Twitter or X and cast your vote. We will continue to update throughout the show. Where'd you go on that, Manuch?
You know what? I kind of looked at that one. The 4 turnovers, if they're not the 4 turnovers, would they have beat the Lions? Probably not. But the confidence, they've won 2 weeks in a row. Their offense is looking pretty good. But going into Philadelphia, if that weather is going to be anything similar, I haven't really checked the weather for now. I might lean initially 25. I might lean more toward 50%.
I put mine at 50%. Yeah. That's where I went. Hey, top headlines presented by our great partnership with Twin Peaks and the fantastic tailgating sweepstakes. It's all poured by Blue Moon and Coors Light. We only have another week or so left. So right now, just text Peaks to 59925. 59925. Peaks to 59925. You can do it every day. We have an amazing grand prize for the winner. No purchase necessary. Standard message, data rate supply. Once again, make the playoff action Twin Peaks, your 5 Valley locations available to watch all of the playoff action. All right, quick timeout. When we come back, we are hanging out today, Draftkings at TPC in Scottsdale. The national championship game plays tonight. We're going to dive into that and our sounds of the weekend as well. You're locked in. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, ESPN 620 and 98.7 HD2 on the FM dial.
Now, it's time for the top sounds of the weekend. Brought to you by the big game at Weekopa Casino Resort on Sunday, February 9th. Details at rockandmanuch.com. Now,
Mics are hot.
top plays and sounds of the weekend on ESPN 620.
Welcome back, everybody. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Jax is with us today as well. We are hanging out at TPC Scottsdale at Draftkings. Let's get now to the top plays, and we're going to feature back-to-back-to-back plays by Saquon Barkley beginning first here. The Philadelphia Eagles, he did nothing except rush for 205 yards yesterday afternoon. Thank you to NBC.
Only if it's wide open, you keep running. 118 yards. And there goes Barkley. To the clear for the snap. All the way home. He's hit another home run against the Rams. And this one might send him to the championship game. 3rd and 4. They'll run out of it. Big opening Barkley. There he goes. Barkley going to again. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it was too crazy. It wasn't that bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't really count it like it was more like hail than it was snow, to be honest. But it's tough to play in that, especially for O linemen. And I think that obviously the stuff that we went back, but throughout the whole thing, I think they handled it pretty well, and we got the win.
205 yards he ran yesterday, Manuch.
And I think what they're starting to say now, that little comment he had with Jalen Hurts before that 78-yarder, I think it was to the effect of, I'm taking this to the house, or something like that. I have to try to concur on that one way or the other. But, I mean, the blocking by this offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles was just smash mouth at its best. Zone read inside, zone read outside, counter, trap, you name it. Was really surprised that they had somewhat had their way with this Rams defense. Rams made some adjustments that they did. Initially, their footing, once that snow started coming down, or sleet or whatever you want to call it, I thought they did a pretty good job. But even with all that going on, the Rams had a chance to come back and win that game on that last drive. But what can you say about Saquon Barkley? Home run hitter extraordinaire. It was interesting to hear A.J. Brown. They talked to him after the game, and he was like, it's so nice to have another home run hitter in this locker room. And I got to tell you, folks, it seems as though Saquon Barkley, when he opens it up, it's not a fourth gear. It's not a fifth gear. Jimmy, it's a sixth gear.
Wow.
The kid must run like a 4.2, 4.3 home run speed when he takes it to the house.
Yeah, he is quick. You're right about that. All right. Then to the other snow game yesterday, that with Buffalo and Baltimore. We're going to feature Bills QB Josh Allen. Thank you to CBS.
So the center with Reggie Gilliam line up behind him. Here it is. Allen, he just steamrolls across for the Buffalo touchdown. Watch this formation. Who's going to motion? Shakir? You're not going to stay there, are you? It's Allen. Allen straight ahead. Bulldozes in for the touchdown.
Reaction now that you're headed to the AFC Championship game?
It's what we've worked for is an opportunity to play another week. We don't want our season to end on a loss, and this gives us an opportunity to keep going. But we'll enjoy this one. A lot to learn from this one. Obviously, wasn't pretty, but these playoff games, you got to win by one. That's all that matters.
And he's right about that. That's all you have to do is win by 1 point. Manuch, they have a date with the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been a nightmare for the Buffalo Bills.
Here we go again. You just think the law of averages would finally lean toward the Buffalo Bills heading into Arrowhead Stadium next Sunday. You hope, me being a former Buffalo Bill, for the Bills fan, you hope that they can finally get to another Super Bowl. Not only get there, but win one. They're 0 for 4. Love to see them get there. I got to tell you what, though, the Ravens exposed a lot of flaws with this defense of the Buffalo Bills, so hopefully get that taken care of. But Josh Allen, folks, he's 6'6", about 250. He's athletic, throws the heck out of the ball, but he's like a tight end coming at you when he runs the football.
I agree.
So very tough to bring him down. But when you watched him, you watch this Bills game, I've just got this feeling they're so bound and determined that everybody was talking about the Ravens defense, Lamar Jackson, all that. They just kind of quietly kept it on the down low. And if you had a chance to watch Sean McDermott's speech in that locker room, I know exactly where he was talking. It was keep it humble. Let's work hard. Let's go get after it one more time before we move on. I like that kind of attitude this Bills team has had, somewhat like the Chiefs. Andy Reid said the same thing.
Right.
Hey, look, guys, we're not done yet. Keep it humble. Keep it low-key. Let's work and get ready.
All right. Quickly then, let's do this. Marcus Freeman, because he is the coach of Notre Dame, he's going to play against his alma mater, which is Ohio State. Here's what he had to say about that.
It won't be something you think about once the game starts. Again, you talk about a guy that you care about more than the game of football. We have a personal relationship with this. Our wives know each other really well. Our kids know each other really well. And so he's a friend. And at the end of the day, you care about friends. But when the game starts, it's going to be about winning. And look forward to the opportunity. Yeah, I grew up a wrestling fan.
Here's the thing about Marcus Freeman. We talk about the culture, the camaraderie. But
sure.
Marcus Freeman, coming from Ohio State and being in Notre Dame as a defensive coordinator, he understands the kind of player it takes to win a national championship. And he takes, I think, a lot of that from the Ohio State way, some of the other national champions, the LSUs, the Georgias, the Alabamas. And I read an article. He studied what they do at Ohio State. He studied what they do at all the other schools. Now, Brian Kelly, I think, did a good job of getting a lot of those kind of athletes, but I think he's amped it up. But I think his way of coaching has taken some of that to where they're now in the national championship.
All right, let's quickly hear then from Ohio State head coach Ryan Day. Here he is.
Had an opportunity to be at Boston College for 9 years and experience, what that was like and what an amazing experience going through the Jesuit education and seeing what that's like on a daily basis. All three of my children were baptized there. But then going to Ohio State and being at a state university, it's a different experience. But it's been amazing to watch this team grow spiritually. And I just think those three pillars of your body, your mind, and then your soul and spirit. And, we have Bible studies and reflections that, we have that we'll have folks come in and speak at, and we have been, for a long time. But then also, seeing our players lead them, in those moments. But then there's also times where I'll walk around the corner and I'll just see a bunch of guys in a room together that, we didn't even know about, that they're having a Bible study talking. And the impact they've made on our community, I think even nationally, is significant here. And I'm proud of where those guys have gone in their journey. And I think it's, again, a great example for some of our young players.
There you go. That's Ohio State head coach Ryan Day. On this day, coming up right now, is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. We are here today at the TPC Scottsdale. It's the area's best kept secret for sports entertainment. Trust me, this place is fabulous. DraftKings, TPC Scottsdale. By the way, gambling problem? Visit nextstepaz.gov. That's nextstepaz.gov. Manuch, what do you got?
Jerry, this is for you. Going way back to 1967 when you're just a young buck.
Yep.
Philadelphia 76ers center Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, yeah, the best ever to play.
Makes all 15 of his field goal attempts in a 119-108 win over the LA Lakers. The NBA record for consecutive shots made beats the mark twice before the 1966 and 1967 season ends. We'll go back to 1980. How about this?
Okay.
Looks like Super Bowl 14. The Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they beat the Rams 31-19. The MVP was Terry Bradshaw. Who was the quarterback, Jimmy, for the LA Rams in 1980?
Vince Ferragamo.
Attaboy, got that one. And last but not least, 1991, Buffalo Bill fans, the AFC Championship game, Rich Stadium. It was cold. It was snowy. Orchard Park, the Buffalo Bills beat the LA Raiders. Are you sitting down? 51-3. Who was the quarterback for the Raiders?
They just buried them.
Who was the QB for the Raiders? Remember, I can tell you.
1991? Oh, tell me.
Jay Schrader.
Oh, yes. I wouldn't have gotten that.
The first 4 or 5 possessions the Bills had, I believe they scored knockdown, drag out 51-3.
All right, there you go on this day. Hey, coming up next, we're going to head to Atlanta, catch up with Ohio State beat writer Steve Hellwagon of Bucknuts Nation. But first, Jax has got our local sports update as we continue. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620 and 98.7 HD2. Atlanta, which is where the game is going to be played tonight. And we say hello to Steve Hellwagon, 24/7 Sports, as he joins us right now on the Right Toyota guest line. Steve, welcome as always, pal. Kind of give us a little setup into how excited Atlanta is getting ready for tonight's game.
Yeah, I think everybody down here is ready to get this going and end the longest season that any of us have ever experienced, I think. 16 games is a new one for Ohio State, certainly. So, you look at it and two outstanding teams getting ready to go head-to-head tonight here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And this downtown is just electric today. Even though it's colder than heck, it's about 30 degrees and the wind is whipping a little bit. Not normal weather here, I think, in Atlanta, but still just an outstanding scene downtown here with the greens and the blues on one side and the scarlet and gray on the other.
You know, Steve, it's interesting hearing all the stories come out about the Jack Sawyers and Will Howard, who, me being a K-State graduate playing there, was very sorry to see him go. They made room for Avery Johnson. They bring him in. But what is the Will Howard story per se? You're seeing a lot of that. I know he wanted to move on. Great chance to move on. Not that it didn't hurt him financially either. But what is his story per se, at least in the eyes of one Steve Hellwagon?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job assimilating to the culture. And he showed up in January, and he jumped right in and worked alongside of his new teammates and didn't come in with any pretense or anything. And he knew he was going to have to fight Devin Brown, the guy who started the Cotton Bowl last year after Kyle McCord left, and some other guys for the starting job. And he just, they never once declared him, the starting quarterback until they got well into fall camp. And I think he gained the respect of all of his teammates. And then he came out and played really good football, I thought, week in and week out. I can't think of, other than the Michigan game where he got kind of dinged up a little bit and threw 2 interceptions, I can't think of many games where you looked at it and said, man, he was an impediment to them winning this game at the quarterback position. More times than not, he's made some winning plays. He's thrown for over 900 yards and 6 touchdowns, I believe, in the 3 playoff games against just 2 interceptions. So he's played lights out here when they've needed him the most. And that's what you're hoping for when you bring in a guy with his experience to come in and play quarterback at your school to assimilate, be a leader, and to produce on the field. He's done all that.
And then, Steve, to assimilate this high-octane offense after the Michigan game with all of this talent, what was the epiphany or what was said in that room with Chip Kelly and Brian Day after the Michigan game to finally open this offense up?
Yeah, I think they realized that they were barking up the wrong tree, trying to establish the run to the level that they were trying to do that in the Michigan game. And certainly they decided that they've got to get Jeremiah Smith, the freshman wide receiver, the star, get him involved. And boy, did they really do that. I think he had about 310 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first 2 playoff games. And I think, I've said this, he was the best player in the entire 12-team playoff through the first 2 rounds. And then obviously Texas came out in game 3, the Cotton Bowl last week, and said, well, we are not going to let Jeremiah Smith beat us. They bracketed him and double covered him at times and just made it very difficult. In fact, one of Howard's interceptions, or his 1 interception last week in that Cotton Bowl, he was trying to fit it into like 2.5-man coverage with Jeremiah Smith, and the linebacker underneath made an easy interception on that play. And I think that was when it dawned on Will Howard.
Breaking news for you guys whenever you're ready. Ben Johnson to Chicago.
Other people, and the Buckeyes succeeded in doing that and pulling that game out at the end the way they did. Dominant first 2 games against Tennessee and Oregon, shot themselves in the foot repeatedly in the Texas game. Holding penalties, personal fouls, the interception, 5 or 6 very promising drives were cut short because of their own mistakes more than what Texas was doing to them. So the key tonight is to not make those same type of mistakes against a really good Notre Dame defense, and don't let them linger in this game. I thought they let Texas hang around in that game last week to the point where Texas could have stolen it at the end. But as it turned out, Ohio State showed that they are a true four-quarter team, and offensively and defensively, they pulled it out at the end.
Steve Hellwagen is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. He is in Atlanta getting ready for the college football championship game tonight. Just take a quick 30-second break. We want to head back to the studio right now as Connor has some NFL breaking news. Connor?
Yeah, this is just coming out now. Adam Schefter reporting that Ben Johnson is going to be finalizing a deal to become the Chicago Bears' next head coach. So it looks like Chicago was going to get their guy. It's Ben Johnson, the former offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions.
All right, we will respond to that in a little bit. We want to continue our conversation right now on tonight's college championship game. I'm real curious because I know, Steve, you've done your homework on Notre Dame. And you just briefly referenced their solid defense, but do you see their offense having success at all against Ohio State's defense?
It's difficult to imagine a scenario where they're going to put up more than 20 or 21 points. And I'm not being disrespectful. I think that anybody who's watched them play this year, they bring up some big point totals against Purdue and one of the service academies. I think the first one they played, they put up 51 points or something against them. I think it was Army was the first one, maybe. I don't know. I lose track of all the games. But they are actually averaging more points on the season than Ohio State, 38 points to like 35 for OSU. But, again, I think the issue is a lot of the opponents that Notre Dame played that were kind of substandard at times. They got in a kind of a shootout with USC, that type of thing. So I look at it that Riley Leonard is an outstanding quarterback. He's the only player in the history of Notre Dame football, and we know how great that legacy is, have 2,000 yards passing and 800 yards rushing in the same season. So the key for Ohio State is twofold. Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, those great defensive ends, have got to continue to impact the game. They've each had sacks in each of the playoff games, so that's been good. Of course, Sawyer had that strip sack last week to cement the win. That was big. But I think the other key is for the linebackers and the safety, Caleb Downs, to keep an eye on Riley Leonard and not let him go and create things running the football. That would be huge. Obviously, he's able to.
Good to break.
I will say this. The one thing you think about is I wonder who the scout team quarterback playing Riley Leonard was. I'd have my best athlete that could actually throw with the helter-skelterness, if there's such a word. Hey, real quick, the one thing that we noticed with the Chip Kelly offense, he used to be go, 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 would wear the pros out, i.e. the Philadelphia Eagles. But he seemed to slow things down this year a little bit, Steve Hellwagen. Is that my imagination to kind of use clock and not wear his big offensive lineman out?
Yeah, they made a really big point of saying that with a 16-game season, they decided not to push the issue perhaps quite as much as you would have thought. And to me, that kind of cuts both ways. I look at it that, you've got the advantage, size and strength and speed and whatever. You need to exploit that any way you can. But at the same time, they tried to keep the team fresh. Not overwork them and not because it was such a long haul season. So I see both sides of it. Tonight, to me, I think it's a race to the end of the first quarter. I think Ohio State has outscored its three playoff opponents 42-0 in the first quarter. And the Tennessee and the Oregon games were over not long after the end of the first quarter. So if Ohio State can jump out 14, 17-0 on Notre Dame, they're going to have a lot of doubt whether they can come back from that. So whoever wins the coin toss, do you take the ball or do you do the normal thing and defer and take it the second half? It'll be interesting to see if either side wants the ball to start the game to get off to a good start.
I know you got a good seat, so hang in there. Have a great time
I'm going to be
tonight.
on the field. Look for me on television, guys. I'm going to be right there when the touchdown scored. They're going to be coming my way. And it's funny, when they beat Oregon 10 years ago, Ezekiel Elliott scored a touchdown, and he ran right at me. I almost gave him 5 as he was going by. I was down there taking pictures. So I don't know if I'll be in that good a spot tonight, but we'll see.
That's great. Have a great time. Enjoy, pal. Thank you as always for your time on the show.
All right. Well, take care, guys.
There you go. Steve Hellwagon, everybody. 24/7 Sports in Atlanta. And he's really big time in this, Manuch, down on the field tonight. Wow. He is brought to you today by All City Towing, and you can join the team at the largest towing company in the state. Of course, it's All City Towing, and they're hiring right now. So if you're looking for a new gig, well, just go online and type in allcitytowing.com and search careers. Again, that's allcitytowing.com and search careers. They have great financial benefit packages for their employees, set work schedules, a healthy 401k, employer match, also employer paid life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Once again, take your career to the next level and try allcitytowing.com and search careers. Again, that's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. All right, coming up next, it'll be our random fact of the day and the breaking news. The new head coach of the Chicago Bears, that's coming up. Manuch will react to it. Football at 50. We're hanging out today. Draftkings at TPC. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. ESPN 620. Also FM 98.7 HD2.
Now back to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B live from Draftkings at TPC Scottsdale, the area's best kept secret for sports entertainment. Draftkings at TPC Scottsdale.
It's going to be a lot of fun here tonight with the college football championship game coming up here at 5:30 local time. All right, we're hanging out here, TPC at DraftKings, and it is time now. Random fact of the day. What do you got?
Just got a couple here, Jimmy, before we get to football fit with some breaking news that, believe it or not, alcohol is considered a performance-enhancing drug in most shooting sports as it calms your body down and allows you to shoot straighter.
What?
Yeah, so any kind of gun shooting or basketball shooting, maybe hockey shooting, I guess it calms the nerves. Well, that gets you hyped up. And last but not least, I'm sure a lot of basketball fans did not know this.
Okay.
Until 1936, the jump ball in basketball took place at center court after every single made basket. That's because they'd make a lot of baskets.
That is
many
correct.
years back in the day. So those are both your random facts of the day.
I like it. That's good stuff. All right, let's do a little football at 50 because, as we told you a few moments ago, new head football coach for the Chicago Bears, Manuch.
Yeah, it looks like Coach Johnson's coming from Detroit. Looks like he's going to be the guy that takes it all over. Interesting, when the Lions lost that, and it had been rumored that he was somewhat the lead dog, if you will, for this team. So I sat there and went, okay, it didn't take them long. And a couple things that kind of spelled to it was they were sitting tight. So Ben Johnson is landing the new head coaching job for the Chicago Bears. I think for him, that's a great move because he has this supposed franchise quarterback he can work with. He's got some good receivers he can work with. They need to build their offensive line. Got a good, solid running back core. They got to tweak their defense. They need to get some guys up front that can, I'd say, a couple top-round picks over the next couple of years as far as linemen are concerned. I think several games there he averaged 5 to 6 sacks a game. But now, that wasn't on the linemen at all. Sometimes.
Okay.
Maybe half of those because Caleb Williams was responsible for some of those. But I like this move. I think they probably felt that Ben Johnson, with his offense, his creativity, and if you have the right tools, he'll call an outstanding game. So he's going to be the head coach / offensive coordinator. I think what he needs to do now is hire a really good staff, really good quarterback coach. Sorry, Ben, I'm not available. For me to lead Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B, no way. Not going to
Chicago
no,
and freeze?
No, when it's freezing out there. I don't have to shovel sunshine. Let's put it that way.
No, you do not.
But
no.
I think that really the key for Ben Johnson going to Chicago, guys, is that you really build around your franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
you have to build around him.
Yeah.
They did that when Jared Goff went to Detroit.
Yep.
Receiving core, running backs, line. The one thing that kind of waned on the Lions was their defense.
Well, they got everybody hurt. That's what happened.
I mean, Jared Goff had the worst time to have his worst game of the year in that playoff game. So I like this move by the Bears. I think it was pretty much telegraphed over the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Would they interview 93 guys?
It was close to that.
Did you get a call?
I did not, but I did send an email and I referenced you in the email to the Bears.
That might have been that one area code if I don't know who it is.
Yeah, you don't pick
I
up.
don't answer it.
I got you.
Yeah, they didn't have enough time. They're like, whoever picks up the phone, we're going to interview him. So
I'll never forget, Manuch, a couple of weeks ago, I referenced the fact on the show and I said, they have a list of 16 people.
Yeah, they did.
16 people.
And it might have been more soft inquiries.
Oh, okay.
So I know that the Bears want to make sure that they follow the first rule. They gave enough minorities opportunities to
Candidates,
interview, which I'm sure that they did. So this is a good move by the Bears. Offensive guy. They've been going after defensive guys the last few years. Now, when Mark Trestman was there, he was an offensive guy. Josh McGowan is quarterback. And I think, I forget who the other guy was, had the anxiety issues for this Bears team. They went to the playoffs.
They did.
His offense, I really liked it. Then they fired him the next year. So
who was Rex Grossman? Who was his coach then? Because they went to the playoffs and then went to the Super Bowl.
Was it Lovie Smith?
Oh,
maybe?
It might have been. Yes, it was Lovie. That is correct.
Lovie Smith
it was Lovie Smith.
But hey, Bear fans, now you have a guy that's going to have a semblance of an offense to build around your franchise quarterback, and to make sure that you push for that NFC Central.
All right, let's quickly get back. Connor's got some more information. Connor?
Yeah, so looks like he's not the only coach getting hired right now. The Colts are hiring Lou Anarumo as their defensive coordinator. It looks like he's going to be joining over after spending the past 6 seasons in Cincinnati. As we all know, Cincinnati's defense actually something that a lot of people were interested in this year. So Lou Anarumo is now going to become the new defensive coordinator, pairing up with Shane Steichen out there in Indianapolis.
That's a good move. I think Steichen figured, look, we got to get this Colts team back on track. And what they had, was a good defense. They throw the ball. I don't think Richardson's the answer.
I am not sold on him.
I'm not either. I think that they should look for a quarterback. You can't continue to bring in the Joe Flacco's of the world or those longtime backups to kind of rescue you. I think the kid's got the talent. Big kid, strong kid. He just needs to learn how to have a quarterback mind, and he learns how to, instead of throwing the ball, pass the ball. He needs to become a better passer. I think they'll stick with him just because he's a top pick.
Okay.
And they'll move him forward. But I would have another backup quarterback, experienced backup quarterback, unless this kid falters once again.
And that obviously could happen. But it's interesting that Anarumo did indeed accept that job for the Colts.
I wonder if he wasn't, they might have had
pushed out.
Yeah, it might have been kind of a scapegoat situation.
Yep.
And I think Taylor might have said, look, if you can go find a position, go do it, because whether it's coming from the Brown family or him, I think, unfortunately, with all the injuries that they had, that he was going to fall in the sword in a kind of an indirect way. Because their offense, you got a guy like Joe Burrow that kept you hanging around the entire year, as woeful as they were. I think they kind of gave him that soft out to go find another job.
Let me follow up on Joe Burrow. We got a couple minutes here. Being an ex-QB, did Joe Burrow on a mediocre NFL football team have one of the best seasons you have ever seen?
By far. If that team, he's an MVP candidate.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
And the only reason why he probably didn't get the merit he should is because they're not going to the playoffs.
Right.
Typically, it goes to the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the Pat Mahomes, because they're always there. What he did, folks, in order to get that team a chance to make the playoffs, the way he threw the ball, utilized his receivers, and got out of harm's way and survived the entire year, is amazing. It might be one of the better quarterback performances with less that I've seen in many, many, many years. And you look back at over the years, Jim, you have a quarterback that somewhat put the entire team on his shoulders.
He did.
And carried him throughout and never wilted. He never wilted. As banged up as he was, as bad as the defense was at times, continued to keep them in games. And some of the games they won, I'm like, damn. Joe Burrow's going to the playoffs. He'd be in that top 2, top 3 of MVP candidates.
I'm with you on that 100%. I thought his season was absolutely incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
incredible playing on that team.
And, to that point, I think several broadcasters ask him, hey, do you feel you're worthy of an MVP candidacy? And he said, look, my play has been MVP worthy. He said, but the guys that are going to the playoffs are the deserving guys that deserve the MVP, them taking their teams deep in the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl. Yes, I mean, I appreciate getting considered,
right?
As humble as he is and what he did, but he kind of understands that if his team's going to the playoffs, even went deep in the playoffs, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, at that point,
and Patrick Mahomes, who did not have one of his better years, but here are the Kansas City Chiefs right where they need to be.
I think the top 3, Mahomes. I think if Burrow goes to playoffs, he's in the top 3. Mahomes would be number 4.
Okay, fair enough. That is our football at 50. Hey, coming up, everybody, hour number 2, we're going to have our G2G protein bar game changers of the weekend, and ABC Channel 15 sports director Craig Fooey will be our guest as we will do a little fact or Fooey. And don't forget, Manuch writes the questions. Manuch, did you deliver some good ones?
I think I did. I
Okay.
think and by the way,
That'll be a first.
Let's not forget about those Phoenix Suns.
They
Jimmy.
are on right now, and it's early in the first quarter. Well, now about halfway through, and it's 2018 with Cleveland leading the Phoenix Suns, and the Suns have just tied the game. to make it 2020 here on Martin Luther King Day. It's a great day if you are an NBA basketball fan. All right, a quick break as we continue today here at TPC Scottsdale and DraftKings. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, ESPN 620.
Drive into the new year in a new Ford from San.
Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620, 98.
Gonna make Mike's hot.
And streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, everybody, welcome back in. We're hanging out today. DraftKings is where you can find us, TPC Scottsdale. This place is absolutely amazing, and it's going to really be jumping tonight because it is the championship of the college football game, and it'll feature Notre Dame and Ohio State. Manuch, I can't wait. Steve Hellwagon on our show. He's in Atlanta. He's going to be on the sidelines. He couldn't wait. He says Atlanta right now, the downtown area where the stadium is located, absolutely electric.
I want to see a good game, Jimmy.
Me too.
I do not want to see a blowout whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, one way or the other.
Yes.
I mean, I look at this game. I see two really quick, aggressive defenses. I look at the offense, give the offensive edge to Ohio State, but I just think that Marcus Freeman and his staff, his defensive staff at Notre Dame, will be game for this. The only thing Notre Dame's got to be very leery of is seeing a Ohio State-Oregon Rose Bowl kind of game where Ohio State comes out and scores quickly and often. They cannot get behind the sticks 14-zip, 21-7, what have you, because what Chip Kelly does, he spreads the field out. He utilizes his talent. Even though Jeremiah Smith was pretty much shut down in that Texas game, he had so many other weapons. And that's the one thing I think is going to be very difficult for Notre Dame's defense is the weaponry, if you will, of the Ohio State Buckeyes. If they can hold serve, get a few stops, and get Riley Leonard, get him pretty much on track, and allow this Notre Dame offense to get some kind of success and keep that offense of Ohio State off the field, then I think that Fighting Irish have a chance at tonight's game.
When you break that game down just the way that you did, do you give Notre Dame a fighting chance to keep it close against Ohio
I do.
State?
I really do. Yeah, I think they're the physicality they have, the size.
Yeah.
I mean, they check every box, Jimmy, for a national title team, especially on the defensive side. Their front seven, they got guys that can run. They have guys up front. You looked at some of the games that they've had and the things that they've done in reference to getting here this year, aside from the one hiccup by Northern Illinois. They've proven over and over again they can compete with anybody, that they can beat anybody. It's just a matter of not being afraid to play your game.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that is I always tell guys, don't be afraid to win. Be smart, but be aggressive.
Instead of playing not to lose, be aggressive and play to win.
Because Chip Kelly is going to be aggressive.
Oh, he will
Offensive coordinator for Ohio State. And Will Howard is going to be aggressive quarterback for Ohio State. He understands. He's been in some big games before. Riley Leonard, okay, he's been in big games now. He's seasoned enough. But I think from the standpoint of attacking, utilizing your offense, you might give that edge to Ohio State. That's why I'm saying if Notre Dame's defense can hold serve, can get a turnover, can prevent some of the big plays.
Okay.
I believe they're going to play a lot of cover two, a lot of zone to make sure that Ohio State doesn't have the home run ball per se. Then I think they've got a puncher's chance in winning this football game. I hope they keep it close. I mean, if Notre Dame wins, great. I mean, I have no heartburn one way or the other. I'm just rooting for Ohio State. I just, loved watching Ohio State growing up, more so than Fighting Irish. That pecking order, ASU, USC, Ohio State, Notre Dame was about for down the list. Because growing up in Arizona, Sun Devils were starting to come around. You root for the Devils, And then you looked at the guys back east, every year. And you looked at those great rivalries, the Ohio State-Michigan rivalries. You looked at Notre Dame and was it Notre Dame, Notre Dame, USC.
USC.
So they were the ones front and center. So you kind of grew up following them. But, I mean, I like Ohio State just because of what they have on the offensive side.
Fair enough. There is big-time news now in the National Football League. No games are played today. However, the Chicago Bears apparently now have their head football coach.
Yeah, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, who a lot of teams were seeking to talk to him. Looks like he is the new heir apparent as being the head football coach with the Chicago Bears. I got to believe, Jimmy, the McCaskey family said, look, we need to help this young guy out. We got this first pick in Caleb Williams. We've got to get some help. We've got to get somebody that knows how to put an offense together. We've got to get somebody that knows how to utilize the weapons that this team is acquiring and will look to acquire in the draft and the free agency. You'll get the guy filled in. You look at their running backs right now. You look at their receiving core, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and some of the others. Now you got to get the offensive line.
Right.
You got to get the line because
was running. Caleb Williams was running for his life.
That's what I'm saying. He was running for his life. So we got to get the offensive line. Build with the offensive line, i.e. draft, i.e. free agency. And you had a couple of decent running backs there in Detroit, I would say, as well, too. You looked at Montgomery
and
Gibbs. But they had an offensive line to create those holes, to protect Jared Goff. And he was allowed with his receiving core, Jimmy, to be creative on offense. You can be creative if you can run the football. You can be creative if you can go play action passing. You can be creative with all of the bells and whistles that you saw Ben Johnson do. By the way, the double reverse pass, what the hell are you doing? Now, Ben, I love you, bro.
Yeah.
I love you. But what was that all about?
That was awful.
That you can't do that, okay?
Yeah.
By the way, can't give 4 turnovers away. That wasn't Ben Johnson. That was Jared Goff, who had his worst game, I got to feel, his worst game in a big-time game with the big-time lights that he's ever had. Last year in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers, I thought he had a really good game.
He did have a good game.
Had the one pass on that 4th down attempt that was behind. I don't know if it was, I forget who it was. But Ben Johnson brings for the Bears fans and the Bears nation is creativity, knows how to run an offense, but you have to have the pieces to the puzzle to complete all that. You got to have the right car parts. That the Bears need an overall, let's put it this way.
Okay.
They're not even going to look to overhaul what they have. They're going to go buy a brand new Lamborghini. They're going to fine tune it, and they're going to get it on the field and work with that moving forward.
It'll be exciting if you're right. How many years do you think let me do this first. Do you think they can flip the switch kind of like what the Washington Commanders did immediately? Or because they are so downtrodden, meaning the Bears, it might take them 2 to 3 years?
Well, think about this.
Okay.
2 years ago, when Justin Fields was quarterbacking,
yes,
I think they won 5 out of the last 6 or 7. They were pushing.
They were pushing for a playoff spot. They were.
Their defense with Sweat and some of their defense was really playing good football. Matter of fact, the Cardinals went into Chicago. They waxed the Cardinals. In a very conservative way. So you thought, wow, okay, but we have this opportunity to get Caleb Williams, which they did. They traded Justin Fields to Pittsburgh.
Right.
But they were on the precipice, were they not, of getting there?
You thought the move had been made.
Yes. But this year, with your rookie quarterback, your woes on the offensive line, and they should never get things going. It was just a big old melted chocolate mess. Would you not agree?
I agree.
So they just went, wow, we were right there, but did we have the right tools? So sometimes I think smart general managers, smart owners will look to take 2 steps back in order to take 5 steps forward. So I thought that the Bears this year, they took a couple steps back. Now, whether that was by accident or on purpose, the rookie quarterback, he's your guy. He's your franchise. We're going to live and die with him. If we go backwards and we're not seeing the results, then at that point, we got to bring somebody who knows how to run an offense, run a team, and retool in order for us to move forward.
Okay, so now the AFC and NFC championship games are set. All right, I'll start with the AFC. Manuch's beloved Buffalo Bills on the road at Kansas City. That has been a nightmare for Buffalo.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for losing a coin toss a few years ago in Kansas City, they never had a chance to tie that game as the Chiefs went right down the field. And if it hadn't been for like the last 13 seconds of a game, that you had this guy named Travis Kelce, hint for a G2G game changer coming up, protein bar, hint coming up our next segment. Did I say Travis Kelce?
Oh, you did, yes.
And a guy named Patrick Mahomes.
I know him, yeah.
Then the Bills could have gone to a Super Bowl. Jimmy, I believe that. I hope it's their year. It's just so tough to beat. See, I want to carry 7 consecutive AFC championship games by the Kansas City Chiefs. Did I do the K-State math?
You did. That is correct.
Okay. And just tough to beat them. I think they're 10-0 after a bye in playoff history. Wow. So you move it forward. Some of the stats and numbers that came off after that Chiefs game and after the Bills game with the Bills going to the Chiefs, phenomenal stats. They just don't lose. So the Bills have got to be on point. I don't think you can rely on Josh Allen the entire time. They're going to have a spy. Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, is going to have something to combat him from running and preventing him. So I think if the Bills are going to win this game, they're going to have to win it with the arm of Josh Allen and the running game and not so much his running game, which is a big part of the Bills' offense.
Okay, take me then quickly to the NFC. Commanders do have a shot against the Eagles in Philly.
Yeah, I like Philly. I really like their running game. I mean, Saquon Barkley. You look at Hurts. He looks healthy. He's throwing the ball well. He's running the ball well. mean, that 44-yard touchdown run he had kind of set the tone. But the way they're running the football with Saquon and controlling the clock, Jimmy, they're not lighting it up with their passing game. They're adequately winning with their passing game. It's their running game, and then it's their defense, Jim. They're getting those stops. They're making those stops when they have to. But you get an experienced quarterback like a Matthew Stafford that kept the Rams in the game. I think the one thing, again, that they'll have something for Jaden Daniels in reference to trying to contain him and not give up the big plays. Overall talent, I look at what the Redskins bring to this game, along with Cliff Kingsbury.
You mean the Commanders?
Commanders, I'm sorry.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
I've done it
It's going
too.
to come out. With Cliff Kingsbury, what experience is he going to have in an NFC Championship game that he's never had before? So those are some of the initial looks I've got.
Quickly to the back pages of some of the newspapers around the country. The New York Post, you're going to like this one, Manuch. Abominable Saquon, as in the abominable snowman. The Daily News for Buffalo, bring on KC. Newsday has fly Saquon fly. And also, how about this? The newspaper in Philly, fly snowbirds fly. Pretty good stuff.
I got to like that.
Yep. And if you're in Baltimore, another stumble.
Oh, ouch.
Another stumble.
Take care of the ball, Ravens.
Man. Hey, this segment's been presented by our fantastic tailgating sweepstakes. It's all sponsored by Blue Moon and Coors Light. You only have a couple of weeks left now, so just text PEAKS to 59925. That's PEAKS to 59925. We have an unbelievable grand prize, and make sure that you are dialed in. Text PEAKS to 59925. Standard message, data rate supply, and you can watch all of the NFL playoff action at one of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations. Manuch, where are we going to be Thursday?
We're going to be at the Scottsdale Twin
Yeah.
Peaks. Matter of fact, just right down the road here from Twin Peaks. We'll be there. We'll have a going on, Jimmy.
All right. Quick break on the way. When we come back, it's our G2D protein bars, the game changers of the weekend. Craig Fooey will join us in about 15, 20 minutes as well for a little Factor Fooey. We're at DraftKings at TPC. This is ESPN 620.
Time for the G2G Protein Bar Play or Team of the Weekend. Did your favorite player make an incredible play or your team had a big upset? They probably know all about G2G Protein.
Mics are hot.
Curated protein bar with unmatched taste, grab and go goodness. G2G Protein Bars are now available at Costco.
Welcome back, everybody. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. We're hanging out today. TPC Scottsdale at Draftkings. This place is going to be jumping tonight for the college football championship game. All right, let's set you up with some of the plays over the weekend that are good enough to be known as our G2G Bar game changers. Let's go to Philadelphia first. This was Roc's pick. He's a little under the weather today, but you know he was loving some Saquon Barkley. Thank you to NBC.
Only if it's wide open, you keep running. 118 yards. There goes Barkley. To the clear for the snap. All the way home. He's in another home run against the Rams. This one might send him to the championship game.
And it did, Manuch. It sent them to the championship game.
Guy was wondering who Roc was going to pick for his G2G Protein Bar Game Changers. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Watching Saquon Barkley, once he hits a hole, he's gone.
Yes.
And you think of all the running backs that have come through that have this kind of speed. I think of Barry Sanders, Eric Dickerson, that can just, and then even Adrian Peterson with the size. And then even watching Derrick Henry, maybe not quite the speed, but Derrick Henry, at 32, 33 years old, looks like he's gotten faster. But Saquon Barkley, I mean, he gets on the edge, he's gone. And the way he throws, the way he gets outside and just takes off, there's no chance reference to catching one Saquon Barkley. He was truly the bell cow.
He was.
In that game. My G2G protein game changer, let's go to Kansas City for mine.
Mahomes steps up, throws, and he got it. Touchdown, Kelsey.
Yeah, thanks to ESPN. Travis Kelce with his touchdown. Reference to watching Patrick Mahomes falling forward and throwing that football. Travis Kelce, guys, has not slowed down a bit. 7 of the 16 completions in the game were to one Travis Kelce for 117 yards. See if I take the abacus slide rule, 16 and a half yards on average.
That's pretty good, pal.
I mean, 16 and a half yards for a tight end. Some people are saying might be his last year with the one touchdown. As I mentioned, the other 8 completions went to the Chiefs receivers. Those other were pretty much Xavier Worthy had 5, and Noah Gray had 3. The other completion to his running back, Kareem Hunt. And it's like, does anybody want to cover Travis Kelce? Anybody? Kind of like Bueller.
Yeah, Bueller.
Anybody home? But when I watch Travis Kelce and the things that he continues to do, he can still run away from guys. He's about 6'5"-ish. He's also about 250. He's one of those guys that will continue to be the haunt all those teams, especially the Buffalo Bills. So Travis Kelce is my G2G protein bar game changer.
Let me quick question and give me about a 30-second answer, and then I'm going to go to my G2G player. Why is Kelce so good for so long, Manuch, in your estimation?
Well, I think this guy named Patrick Mahomes showed up on the scene, and they have a chemistry. They kind of can read each other. They have a sixth sense about each other.
Okay.
Because sometimes, think about that 13-second drive they beat the Buffalo Bills we were talking about. Here they are. It's 13 seconds. It's 4th down, and they've got Mahomes mic'd up, and Kelce says, "Hey, look for the seam. Look for the seam," because it was a cover 2, cover 3 deep, but there was 15 to 20 yards down the middle where Kelce could get the ball, down it, and try to get the field goal.
Right.
So he kind of looked at Mahomes. He said, "Just look for me." So Mahomes looked for him, bang, put it. So I think they have that relationship, that chemistry that has helped him immensely. But on top of that, Andy Reid is an absolute genius, understands every facet of the field, every facet of the player, and those guys that are throwing it and those guys that are receiving it, which has helped Travis Kelce. I'd be surprised, Jimmy, if he came back another year.
Okay.
I feel if they win it all or they get to the Super Bowl again, that this might be his last salvo.
All right, so my G2G bar player of the game, Jalen Hurts, quarterback for Philadelphia. Thank you to NBC Sports.
Putting out some of those running opportunities for Saquon.
Hurts this time, pulls it, and keeps it, and takes it up for the first down. Hurts on the right, Jalen Hurts, touchdown, Philadelphia.
There you go. Jalen Hurts, 44 yards on that play, and he pretty much willed the Philadelphia Eagles in now to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, our G2G and protein bar game changers of the day. It's not your average stale, off-the-shelf protein bar. What makes these bars so delicious is they're fresh, with those preservatives stored in the fridge. Now, I can tell you this, having them out there with my quarterbacks in training, they come in very handy, and they're filling. I got to tell you what, they're just a great way for solid protein, healthy fats. I incorporate them into my diet. You got to check them out in the refrigerated section at Costco. That's the refrigerated segment at Costco. Or just go to g2gbar.com. That's g2gbar.com. Get one today. One more time, g2gbar.com.
All right, Suns are playing right now. They're on the road against the Cleveland Cavaliers with about 5 minutes left in the half. It is 44-37. Cleveland leads the Suns as we speak. And notice I did the basketball update because it ties in to Manuch's first offering of On This Day.
Yeah, going back officially, 1892, the first official basketball game. I think Jimmy might have called it.
might have.
Was played at the YMCA training school in Springfield, Massachusetts. The players used peach baskets without cutting out the bottom. So that's why they particularly had a jump ball after each one. The game had to be stopped, as I mentioned, so they could climb the ladder and get the ball. That was for 44 years that they did that. 1981, Ronald Reagan sworn in as the 40th president of the United States. Minutes later, Iran released the 52 American hostages it had held for 444 days. 17 years ago, in 2008, Breaking Bad premiered on AMC, starring Bryan Cranston as Walter White, a chemistry teacher with stage 3 lung cancer, starts making meth with a former student, that being Aaron Paul. Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Not really.
What
no.
a great show!
I should have.
You have got to.
I'll start watching the replays.
You have to start definitely watching that. And then 2013, Joe Flacco outduels Tom Brady, throwing 3 touchdown passes in the second half, leading the Baltimore Ravens the first Super Bowl in 12 years with a 28-13 victory over the Patriots for the AFC Championship. All that going on this day.
There you go. It is Martin Luther King Day, which means the NBA has all of their games on right now. And once again, that does include the Phoenix Suns and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they are playing that game in snowy Cleveland right now. Fortunately, the game's inside. It is 46-39 right now with the Cavs up as they start to wind down in the first half. All right, so coming up here in just a little bit, a little fact or phooey. However, first, local ESPN 620 Sports Update. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now, 620 ESPN.
Manuch writes the questions. Now here's ABC 15's Craig Fooey.
All right, everybody, we are back. We're hanging out in Scottsdale. TPC here at Draftkings. What a great place to do our show from today. And this place is going to be electric tonight because it is the college football championship game. Fooey, I'm pretty sure that you're dialed in right now, right? Where you're going to go for Ohio State, right?
You got to go for Ohio State, right? They are the favorite, right?
Yes.
Well, you've been the fine Irishman that you are, Fooey. We just
I know, right? You can't just jump on bandwagon for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because all your friends are cheering for them.
So
it's going to be I think it's going to be a fun game. Both of them are trying to, overcome just an ugly loss during the regular season. Obviously, Northern Illinois beats Notre Dame at Notre Dame early in the season. Then Michigan winds up their season by beating the Buckeyes. I mean, so they're both they got a chip on their shoulder. They both want to do well tonight. Should be fun.
For you, Coach, watching the Irishman this year and the differences you've noticed being a former coach. And, I talk about the speed, the size. Looks like Marcus Freeman. It looked like the cupboards were maybe half full when Brian Kelly, left to go to LSU. But what do you notice about Notre Dame this year than years past that they have not had?
I see a team that's just bought in. I see a team that just really has bought into the direction they're going, what they're doing. They believe in themselves. They love that they play for Notre Dame, right? I mean, when you talk blue bloods of college football, Notre Dame is certainly in that conversation. They've been up and down over the last few years, but I just think Marcus Freeman has it moving in the right direction. I'm going to be the first to say I wasn't sure he was the right hire at that time, but man, has he proven me wrong. He is just doing an outstanding job, and those guys they're all in 100%.
All right, we always do factor Fooey, and yes, we remind you that Manuch does indeed write the question.
I'm glad I got some billing with the Open. I like that.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously.
I'm going to have to talk to the guy that did that. Here we go, Fooey, number one.
I think he's a K-State grad.
With the addition of center Nick Richards, who had a double-double against the Pistons on Saturday, should that now assure the Suns of at least a play-in spot? Factor Fooey.
We're jumping to the end of the season.
There you go.
41 games in. We're 41 games in. They're playing right now against the Cavaliers, and they're down by 11.
Right. Yeah.
So Nick Richards now has 2 points as a starter.
That's it.
And 3 rebounds, and 1 assist, 1 block. So, listen, it was a great start for Nick Richards. I kind of felt he was going to do that. He was traded earlier last week. He comes on, gets his first chance to play on Saturday. And they play well against the Pistons. He plays well, 21 points, 11 rebounds. You kind of expect that, right? The new guy with a new team. And now you're playing the cream of the crop in Cleveland. And even though Cleveland doesn't have a couple of their best players, they're still a good basketball team. So that, the rubber meets the road here. And like I said, they're a minute 12 to go in the first half, and they're down by 11. But we'll see how it goes. But do they make the playoffs? I think Nick Richards helps this team, and I think they are going to go through some growing pains here now. And I hate to say that midway through the season, I hate to say growing pains, but that's where the Suns are.
Oh, Coach Frey, I love you. I don't care what they say about you. All right, Coach, leading to today's game, the Suns' true litmus test of where this Suns team is today's Cavs game, currently in progress, as you mentioned, and how they move forward with any more trades. Fact or Fooey?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the trade deadline's coming up, February 6th, I think, something around there. And the Suns, they've got a schedule that this was pretty soft this last few games they've had. So they needed to win those games. And obviously they've won, 5 out of 6, 4 straight. So they've done well in those games they needed to do well. But this season's not going to stay this soft. And now you hit the Cleveland Cavaliers today. And obviously you're seeing that even with a couple of players out there, still 10 points up. So it's going to be a litmus test in terms of what they can do against the 500 or better teams.
Coach, it's interesting you bring that up because I was looking at this schedule the next 2 weeks, and I looked at the last 2 weeks for the Suns. Oh, my goodness. Better have your chin strap button, seatbelt fastened, hands at 10 and 2, because those last 2 weeks that you're talking about making a move now, hopefully will move them forward because it's going to be a tough grind those last 2 weeks of the season.
Well, it is. And what's interesting now is we went through this with Frank Vogel last year, right? And early in the season when Frank Vogel was here, He played all those different bench guys, trying to find somebody to step up. Nobody stepped up. So they traded them all away and brought in new guys. And then they struggled down the stretch last year and then got beat in the first round. And now you're sitting halfway through the season, and we're still talking about what the Suns might do at the trade deadline or trying to build chemistry. We're at the midway point of the season. This is ridiculous. This is the big three. This is Durant and Booker and Beal. This is a team that should be vying for a championship, and yet here we are midway point of the season, and we're talking about trying to find chemistry and find out what the best mix is of starters and backups. This is ridiculous.
I'm with you.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
Yep, you tell it. I've been screaming that the entire time, Coach. All right, we'll change up here. Number 3, with the Diamondbacks signing Corbin Burns, the new rotation of Burns, Gallen, Kelly, Rodriguez, and Fott will allow them to compete for the National League West title. Fact or phooey?
Fact. Does that exclude the Dodgers in that? the Giants, D-backs, Padres, Rockies? Yes, fact. No, listen, I was at that press conference last Wednesday. A lot of hopium in that room. Corbin, I was really impressed with Corbin Burns. What a great guy. Very intelligent for a 30-year-old, very sharp. It's first time through free agency. But the resounding message that you got from everybody was, I have 2 starters, 2 quality starters, right? You've got 2 number ones. You've got Corbin Burns and Zach Gallen. And the last time we had that, I might remind you, was Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling. And so when you have 2 quality starters like that, you can do all kinds of things with your rotation. I know Mike Hazen's still working on the bullpen and trying to figure some things out there. But, boy, what a great start for this baseball team to have somebody like Corbin Burns and Zach Gallen backing him up, and vice versa. I mean, it's just going to be great. And Merrill Kelly, we got to stay healthy, right? We didn't see Eduardo Rodriguez until halfway through the season last year. Merrill Kelly was gone for 2 months. So if these guys can stay healthy and play, we got a shot. I'm telling you what, when you have pitching, you have a shot.
Coach, did you use the term hopium?
Absolutely.
Okay,
isn't that? Listen, we're talking about it already with the Cardinals. Wait till the draft. Wait till off season. We're already talking about that. Yeah, we're
I just never heard the term. Is that a Manuchism that you use?
Yeah,
right there?
really.
Hopium? I like that. Can I use it?
I've got it trademarked, but you can use it.
Okay, good.
All right, Coach. Here's our next question. Number 4. If Ohio State head coach Ryan Day wins tonight's Ryan Day wins tonight's national championship game, it will satisfy all those haters who want to fire him for losing to Michigan. Fact or phooey?
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, you got to win. You can't lose tonight. You got to win. He knows that. Listen, he's been on a hot seat for a long time at Ohio State, right? It's been one of those things where people are protesting outside, then people have got the love signs out front. I mean, it's like, keep Ryan Day. No, get rid of this guy. Move him on. You can't continue to lose those games and lose games against top 5 teams. You've got to come through and win. And you got to win a national championship. You're in the driver's seat tonight. You're the favored team. You're playing a game against Notre Dame. You should win. And if you don't, it's going to be trouble for Ryan Day. But if he wins, he should be fine.
All right. Last one, Coach. Here we go. Michael Bidwell and his staff of the Cardinals knocked it out of the park in preparing State Farm Stadium for last week's Rams-Vikings wild card game. Fact or phooey?
And that's good therapy for me to have to write that, phooey. I'm telling you.
Is this just because it's ML King Day? Is that
he needs it. Yes.
Right. Get some love out here today. Peace and understanding.
Pains me to do it, but I had to give him some love.
No. Listen, I said it last week at the game. We were there, and we talked about it before. We talked about it after. For the Cardinals to step up and do what they did was just phenomenal. And, they sent the planes over to pick up the guys. They gave them their facility to practice at, their locker room. The field guys were fantastic. They got all the stencils and all the paint in right away and painted the field up.
You guys are good to wrap after.
In-game, whatever they call it, I guess, host group. And they had the in-game atmosphere there was unbelievable, right? It was like Hollywood. Like, it was amazing. You could tell the difference between their in-game folks and their entertainment people and what they do. But yeah, it was a great effort by Mike Bidwell, by the Cardinals. They went above and beyond many times over, and gladly, right? And did it happily. And so I think that was pretty cool, especially when you're talking about an NFC West rival in the LA Rams, right? The team that beat you down the stretch and has beaten you repeatedly over the years. So I thought it was a great effort, great job. And again, you know what? They didn't step up and take any bows either. They just did the job and went about their business.
What's the soup du jour on Channel 15 for Sports Director Craig Fouey tonight?
Oh, man, we're talking about the Suns. We're talking about the championship. We're talking about the AFC and NFC championship games next Sunday. We got stuff going today. I'm telling you.
Go Bills. That's all I can say.
Oh, yeah. How about them Bills, huh?
Let's go. Let's go, Buffalo.
He is so dialed in, Fooey. It's unbelievable. However,
well, I'll tell you what. Anybody that can suit up and play in that weather deserves to be dialed in.
There you go. Yeah, that was
I'd
that
be
was
in the
tough.
press box.
I don't blame you. I would be too. Thank you, Coach. Have a good day, pal. You got it. Factor Fooey, Craig Fooey, ABC 15. He is presented by The Taco Spot. Taco Spot with locations throughout the state. You can come and experience the tacos to taco about. And for a location near you, just go to tacospotaz.com. Again, that's tacospotaz.com. Quick break. When we come back, at Texas, Steve Sarkisian gets a brand new contract. We'll also set you up again for tonight's CFP championship game as well, with a little football at 50. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. We're hanging out today. TPC Scottsdale at Draftkings, ESPN 620 on the FM dial, 98.7 HD2.
Area's best kept secret for sports entertainment. DraftKings at TPC Scottsdale.
All right, everybody, we are hanging out here. It is a gorgeous facility. They have so many TVs, not only indoors. Manuch, I took a walk outside onto the patio. It is a fabulous patio as well.
You know, when you walk out and just to the south patio, it's like it's a movie screen, like you walked into a movie theater.
Yeah, yeah.
That bad boy's got to be, I don't know. I'm going to say maybe 15 feet wide by 10 feet high. You'd think you're in a movie theater. You walk out there, aside from the ones on the west patio. And then here we are right here by the book in the area, right the meeting where you go up to the guys and you place your bets. And I've counted, only 22. And then the one right in front and center, it's like a movie theater screen.
Yeah. They are.
So, I mean,
huge.
And the food, the service, you're not going to miss a beat coming in here for tonight's game or the playoff game. Going strong as well, too, out here at the Draftkings, the TPC, just east of the clubhouse off of Hayden.
And don't forget, when the golf tournament is on, guess where we're going to be? Right here at TPC.
Yeah, we'll be here for the Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm sure the entire week. A lot of guys placing bets on that'll be the week of the Super Bowl, I'm sure.
Yep.
Bets on the golfers that'll be going on, and then basketball in full swing with just a couple months left come that second week of February.
You got that right. All right, let's do a little football at 50. And, of course, the big story right now comes from the Chicago Bears, and that is they have themselves a brand new head coach.
Yeah, they do. Ben Johnson coming from the Detroit Lions. They coveted Ben Johnson, his name out there quite a bit. But it seemed to be with the 15, 16, 17 interviews the Bears have had, I think they did a lot of that knowing that they'd like to make that offer to Ben Johnson after the loss to the Commanders here this last weekend. So he's going to be the new head coach for the Chicago Bears, reportedly. It's not official until he signs on the dotted line. Unlike many years ago when the Bears named Dave McGinnis as the head coach.
Yeah.
He was a defensive coordinator for the Bears. They named him the head coach. He said, wait a second. I haven't agreed on anything. I haven't agreed on a contract. Bears got a little ahead of themselves. So we're going to say reportedly till it's all said and done that Ben Johnson looks to be the new head coach for this Chicago Bears team. You supposedly have your franchise quarterback. You got to go you've got some decent receivers, decent running backs.
Got to get somebody who can block.
Get some guys that can block, tweak the defense, get some good free agent trades, get some draft choices, and allow Ben Johnson to hopefully have the kind of tools for this Bears franchise and bring this team who's had some of their ups and downs, more downs than ups over the last several years, and make them a contender versus the Packers and the Lions and the Minnesota Vikings.
College football tonight. It is indeed the championship game. Notre Dame and Ohio State. Game will be played in Atlanta. The city of Atlanta is just electric. And to be honest with you, I can't wait for this game tonight.
Yeah, we had Steve Hellwagon on, the beat reporter for Ohio State for 247.com, and he said, look, it's hopping. The downtown area, a balmy, chilly 30 degrees in Atlanta. Fortunately, this game is going to be in the Mercedes Dome. They'll be playing it there. So a lot of folks excited for this game. I'm excited for it. I hope to see a good game. Wouldn't surprise me if Notre Dame wins this game by a field goal, being the underdogs. We're at 9.5. Last time I looked. Jax, what is Notre Dame currently right now as far as the underdog?
Well, let me look. Sorry, you put me in the spot there.
That's right, 8.5. Last time I was 8.5, 9. Well, you're the Notre Dame guy. Look at him all.
No,
the
regalia. Of course.
Jax has.
I know.
I believe 8.5.
8.5. Okay. Jax is attired in an Irish sweatshirt and a Notre Dame hat.
I wonder who he's rooting for.
Probably.
And Jax, you're telling us your dad's from South Bend?
Yeah, dad's from South Bend. It's a big time game tonight, and I think Notre Dame's got it. I think Notre Dame's going to shock a lot of people in this game.
Why do you say that?
I think just everything they've got going on right now with Marcus Freeman, and this team just has no quit. And I think that's something that is cliche, and it's something that's kind of maybe a lazy take. But in today's society, in today's college football, we see a bunch of people leaving. Everyone stayed there at Notre Dame. They only had 2 people leave. Sure. It matters. And this is the start of an era where They were doubted against Penn State. They were doubted against Georgia, and they beat those two teams. I think if it's a close game, you look for Ryan Day to maybe freak out in the fourth quarter like he did with Michigan. I like Notre Dame here. I think keep it close in the fourth quarter. I think they got a good shot.
Well, let's go to a team that's been in the semifinals the last couple of years, like the Sark, Steve Sarkisian.
Oh, in Texas.
Has agreed to a new 7-year deal that adds a year to his current pact and makes him one of the highest paid coaches in college football. Now, this comes after, as I mentioned, led the Horns their second straight college football playoff semifinal appearance. 50 years old is Sark. He's a 38-17 record.
That's amazing.
And has won a Big 12 title since taking over the program in 2021, now part of the SEC. College football playoffs, oh, gosh. Why does this surprise me? Has not ruled out tweaks, Jimmy.
Whoa, what?
For the 2025 season.
Really?
Yeah. Imagine this SEC influence. Tweaks could be made regarding the future format of the 12-team college football playoff. Now, the executive director, Rich Clarkson, said that the group of FBS commissioners and their presidents and chancellors could control playoff. Talked about a lot of really important issues. Oh, more SEC teams?
Yes.
Oh, is that what the issues are?
Even though they suck?
But bigger decisions need to be made very soon. Oh, because of the SEC? Is that what we're looking at? Nobody at this time looks to have a 14-team bracket at this time, Jimmy. Oh, unless the SEC
wants it,
starts to bemoan the fact. Just cracks me up. Just, you know what? Leave it alone. I think it's just doing just some fun.
I thought it was great.
Well,
I loved every minute of it. I really did.
And kind of off that realm, if you will, the ACC championship game could have a different look to it next year as well. As the commissioner, Jim Phillips, had said that the league will talk to its coaches and ADs about making changes to the format of conference championships. Oh, like the SEC? Is that what we're looking at? According to Phillips, the ACC could consider giving its regular season champion a bye, have the teams that finish second or third in the league in standing play for the ACC championship game. Another possibility is having the top 4 teams play on the final weekend of the regular season, with the winners playing the following weekend in the ACC championship game. So conversations of tweaking championship games in other divisions or other conferences, thanks to the SEC, could be making changes.
Manuch, do you think that the championship games will eventually go away?
You know what? It depends on, I think, seeing what the seeding becomes in the next 2 or 3 top seeds.
Okay.
So let's say Alabama, they lose their 3 games, but they win the conference. It's not, well, I think what they're talking about, not an assured bet that if you win your conference,
you're not going to get in.
That you may not get in.
Wow.
So, and being fair to the ACC, I think what they're doing is trying to make sure they play the best of the best so that there's no hiccup, that they don't get in because that one of their teams that wins the conference has lost 2 or 3 games. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
Alabama, when they played their bowl game, just an okay Michigan team
doesn't make a difference.
Beat them.
I'm talking about the rankings, Jimmy.
Okay.
I think that they want to make sure they've played enough solid teams that they, even if they have 2 losses or 3 losses, the moaning and complaining is that they have the best teams, whether they've lost 2 or 3, that they're still one of the top 12 or top 14 teams in the nation despite their losses. To a Boise State team that had 1 loss, but had a schedule that was not anything close to the SEC, the Big Ten, or the ACC. See what I'm saying?
I understand.
You might have lost 2
but
games.
So what they're doing then is they're going to try essentially to eliminate those schools.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah,
I'd say, hey,
I mean, let's call it what it is.
If you've lost to Georgia, and you lost to, let's say you lose to Georgia, one of your losses. Let's say you lost one of your non-conference games to Wisconsin, and you lost another one, let's say to Ohio State regular season.
Okay.
Those are your 3 losses. Put those ranks in your RPI schedule versus Boise State beating Bangor, Maine Tech.
Well, that's
or
not.
UNLV.
Come on now. No, they played Oregon. Took them to the mat.
They played Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay. They took them to the mat.
Took them to the mat.
How many top 10 or top 15 teams did they play the rest of the year?
Well, that's unfair because they play in the Mountain West.
Okay, that's fine.
That's like saying Gonzaga that plays in the West Coast Conference shouldn't get
Okay.
invited into
All right.
basketball because they play in the West
So
Coast Conference.
what they're saying, they may retool
Okay.
that
2
going,
minutes.
okay, these 3 losses are teams ranked higher or more stronger than the teams playing in the Mountain West Conference. And they may look at that versus the conference winner getting an automatic big. Now, would it be fair to Boise State if they ran the table and they continue to win the Mountain West Conference?
Right.
Probably, because if that's the case, then the Boise States need to put more non-conference big boys on their schedule so they don't have to, if they go undefeated or lose one game, that's not going to negate against them.
One of the things that I'm going to find this heartbreaking because they are going to try to eliminate schools like that, and that'll just be awful. The next thing you'll see is they'll try to eliminate the Big 12 as well. They won't be able to do that for at least 5 years, but eventually it'll become the Big Ten and the SEC invitation.
Well, and I think eventually over the next 5 years, Jimmy, with a lot of this going on, you'll see the super conferences.
Yes.
And then they'll adjust the playoffs even more so. So they're going to have some tweaks, whatever those tweaks that the SEC has afforded to them, and do basically say, we're good for 12. We want some tweaks. And if we get to 14, there'll be more tweaks. I guess the SEC has some influence on the college football playoffs. Wink, wink.
All right, we're hanging out today here at DraftKings at TPC and Scottsdale. Don't forget, the College Football National Championship game is tonight. This is a great place to make your wagers and watch the games. Coming up, hour number 3, Cardinals former wide receiver Frank Sanders will be our guest. We continue. ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2 FM.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a record need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Hey, everybody, welcome back in. Hanging out today, TPC Scottsdale at Draftkings. That's where you can find us. The guys are here, and this is a fabulous establishment to come and make your for tonight college football championship game, and the screens are bigger than me, Manuch.
I got to tell you what,
I
Jimmy,
think this one here in the middle is bigger than you.
Could you imagine just, putting a cot right there? I could live in here, watch all the sports.
Yeah.
Sans the, making a placing a bet once in a while. Food's great. The drinks, the beverages.
Everything.
I could, this little area back in here.
Uh-huh.
I could, little room back in there and to kind of watch. It's like Nirvana. Sports Nirvana. Jimmy, is this heaven?
No, it's DraftKings.
It's DraftKings, just east of the TPC. But there's a lot going on here. A lot of folks are starting to filter in, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
As they're getting ready for this big national championship game for Ohio State taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
All right, so let's begin with that. The Suns right now are down 20 in the third to Cleveland. We'll get into that in just a moment in the NBA. The game tonight, the betting favorite is Ohio State. A lot of money, it seems, is on Ohio State. I'm going to be a sucker. Jax is wearing all of his Irish gear today. I'm going to grab the 8.5 points and take Notre Dame.
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
You know
I'm
what?
going to do that.
You
don't like that?
No, I do. I'm just because you see this offense of Ohio State. They can score quickly. My heart says, yeah, Jimmy, I would do that. I would take the 8.5, take the Fighting Irish. They should have put another, I think, 2 touchdowns on the board against Texas.
Yeah, but Texas was in that game until the scoop and
Jimmy,
score.
hold on a second. Ohio State shot themselves in the foot.
Okay.
I mean, I'm against Texas. They shot twice. And if not for that, they put another 2 touchdowns on the board, which that's why I'm torn. What I saw could have been another 2 touchdowns on the board versus what they did against Oregon. But then you watch Notre Dame. See the conflicting I have in my own brain.
You are
right side, left side.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it. I'll go ahead and I'm going to take the 8.5 and the Notre
Okay.
Dame Fighting Irish. At least I think they hang in there with this game. If not, Jimmy, I'll go out to say, if not cover, that they could have the chance to upset the Ohio State Buckeyes.
So if we had one more hour of the show, would you go back to Ohio State?
No, probably. You know
he's
what?
So
conflicted.
Jax,
It's
because
unbelievable.
for a quarterback, you're always okay. Sometimes you overanalyze.
Yes.
Okay, versus cover 2, we've got these 25 plays. Okay, let me give my top 3. Well, Manuch, no, we just need your top 2. Here's these 3 versus cover 2. I know we could have success with. All right, here's my top play. So, I think that the Irish cover. I think Ohio State wins it, but I think the Irish cover this bad boy. I wouldn't have any heartburn if the Irish win it.
Yeah.
Father O'Leary would be happy there. Mount Carmel at St. Daniel's, Catholic school upbringing.
Yeah.
And working from that standpoint.
Here is your daily digit. Okay.
Yeah, throw it out there.
18 plus miles of fiber cable has been installed at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, where they're going to play the game, to support ESPN's broadcasting capabilities of the game tonight. Over 18 miles of fiber cable.
Well, it's interesting that I'm thinking about that. So every year, Lori loves the Ice Capades.
Okay? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when we go to the Ice Capades and all of the lights, and they've got cable running along the ice, the sheet of ice.
Okay.
There's cables here and there's cables there. And this is just an Ice Capade show. And you and I have done many broadcasts. You've done national broadcasts. When we go to arenas, you see the cables at arenas, and then you see the cable at stadium. So that doesn't, when you think about how far the cable goes from the truck, a lot of times they're on the outside of the stadium, and they bring it from the inside. So you look at hundreds and hundreds of yards. But 18 miles?
18 miles plus.
So
yeah.
basically from here to about my house is how much cable is going to be lined for this game. Now, would they say there's like, 252 different cameras, give or take?
It's amazing how many there are.
No, I'm just kidding. I think it was 113.
I think it's 100 something, yeah.
Yeah, of cameras, which I love. I mean, I love cameras everywhere. The pylon cameras. Like that pylon camera, when you had Mark Andrews drop that 2-point conversion.
Yes.
That was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
It was right there. It was right there. He turned around. The ball's a little low, but he had it. And as he's slipping into the end zone, he just just drops it. He's like, it's right there. I mean, it's front and center. I mean, that is what I believe Roger Goodell, when he first took over as a commissioner of the National Football League, envisioned as far as cameras everywhere, kind of virtual reality. I think EA Sports might have designed some of the things the National Football League to say, hey, look, if we're going to enhance EA Sports, we'll have just about every angle. We'll have the caricatures in the EA Sports be so real. The different shots will be so real. But I love it because if these replay officials, it comes down to a call that's going to decide the game, the more the merrier. Above, on the sideline cam, you have the pylon cam, whatever cam you want. The hot dog cam, the mic'd up cam, whatever that is, let's use it.
There you go. All right, we are here at TPC Scottsdale at Draftkings today. We're here until 4 o'clock, and this is the place. If you want to watch tonight's championship college football game, our time kick is around 5:30.
A couple little fun facts. Ohio State and Notre Dame inaugurally rank among the most traditional rich teams. We talked about Blue Bloods, have we not, Jimmy?
Yeah.
In the 155-year history of college football, they contend. Yet, here they are after combined 271 seasons, the second and fourth winningest programs of all time.
Interesting.
Having steered their way to the final game of this season by embracing modernized approaches to the sport. It also says both teams are maintaining the shine on those silver and gold helmets by piling up silver and gold in the form, you guessed it, NIL money, Jimmy.
Absolutely, brother.
It makes a difference. So it's interesting that they have got all this going on for these first two. You got basically the scene will be set at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, kickoff 7:30 Eastern, 5:30 our time, as you mentioned, on ESPN. Things will get started with College Game Day. You'll have Reese Davis, Nick Saban, Pat McAfee, Lee Corso, Desmond Howard, and Kirk Herbstreit. Fowler and Herbstreit will be having the call. So, Lee Corso, fine paisano. I'm sure he's a fine Catholic guy that he is. Does he take the elf hat, the Buckeye head? Which way? I wonder if there's a prop bet for that.
Oh, which one he's going to put on?
Going to go on?
Probably, yeah.
I got to imagine. So for the Fighting Irish, I don't know if there's an elf head, or maybe it's the green jacket he puts on the elf jacket, or the Buckeye head. Which way you leaning on that one, Jimmy?
I think he's going to go for Brutus in Ohio
Buckeye
State.
head.
Yeah. That's where I think he's going to go. He would, to me, that makes the most sense. That Lee Corso would lean that way. Quickly in the National Football League, there is a new head football coach for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, Ben Johnson, the former offensive coordinator. Allegedly, he's the guy. He's got a pretty good young quarterback to start things off with Caleb Williams as his quarterback. Look at them. I'm looking at the offense as it is as of today. DeAndre Swift, running back.
Yep.
Got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Romeo Dunze as the receivers. Komet's he's solid tight end, but it's that offensive line I think he's going to have to really look to build or improve upon when you look at the amount of sacks. Now, a lot of those sacks were on Caleb Williams. You got guys coming. If you can't call the protection out or can't get the ball off, throw the football away. Know where your hot route is. Know where your side adjustment is, or being able to get a bad situation to a good situation will have to be that focus. Now, who he hires as his defensive coordinator is going to be paramount.
Okay.
He's got to hire somebody. We saw defense 2 seasons ago
Coming up on the final minute
was
here.
on the precipice of a potential playoff defense. Justin Fields was a quarterback.
He was.
That a potential playoff team. They were that close. I think they missed it by what, one, maybe two games, if that. So they've got some of the ingredients, but now Ben Johnson's going to tell the McCaskey family, look, after the general managers for the Bears, this is what I need. So I hope he had the heart-to-heart to say, look, I would love to be the Bears head coach, but I need this. I'm not going to sell my soul to the devil by just taking the job. It's the Bears, one of the blue bloods of all football,
right?
Just to be a head coach. If I'm taking this job, I need X, Y, Z, A, B, C, whatever to be successful. Otherwise, I'll just stay at Detroit, and we'll go after another NFC championship and Super Bowl.
Sure.
Why would he take the job if he didn't get at least assurance that he's going to have the ability to get those ingredients, Jimmy B, to run the kind of offense, have the kind of offense he had in Detroit? Why would he not impress upon that family and that general manager, I need X, Y, Z if you're going to be successful?
I agree that he would have to put his foot down and also get the sort of coaches that you have spoken about.
And the players.
Because the Bears need a lot of help. There you go. Top of the hour headlines. It's all presented by Twin Peaks and the fantastic tailgating sweepstakes. It's all brought to you by Blue Moon and Coors Light. By the way, right now, just text Peaks to 59925. You can enter every day. That's Peaks to 59925. It's an amazing grand prize featuring a Traeger grill, a Blackstone griddle, pizza oven, cornhole set, portable beer pong table, an outdoor projector with an inflatable screen, a cooler, multiple cases of Cocoa 5. No purchase necessary. Standard message data rates apply. Just text Peaks to 59925 and make sure to watch all of the football action at any of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations. All right, a quick break. We're coming right back, everybody. We're going to dive into the Suns. They are struggling right now against the Cleveland Cavaliers here on Martin Luther King Day. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2.
Richards. He's got 21 on the afternoon off the bench, and the Suns are up 3, 114 to 111.
That was from a game with Detroit, and it was a victory for the Suns. Thank you to Arizona Sports Station 98.7 for that highlight. The game right now in Cleveland is in progress, 82-66 with about 3.5 minutes left to play in the third quarter. It has been all Cleveland so far. Manuch, let's quickly go back to Detroit, and we talked about it last week, that they were going to play a Pistons team, which is a much improved team.
Much improved.
Yes. And
who were those guys?
Yeah, and the Pistons were in it all the way to the end, despite the fact the Suns got the W.
You know, you watch that game and you went, wow, Detroit, talk about a team, you know, turning a new leaf, Jimmy. I got to tell you what, just watching that whole thing unfold. And for me, watching the Suns and Detroit go back and forth, it seemed a little bit like a kind of a playoff atmosphere with it. For Nick Richards to come in and have a double-double, literally get off the plane and meet them there in Detroit. I thought it was a good game for the Suns, a lot of balanced scoring. KD took over in that fourth quarter, but you just had the shooting of this Detroit Pistons team just stay with him, going down, up and down the court. But again, the Suns, they've got to just the offensive rebounding by Detroit, 15 offensive rebounds. The Suns 13. That's still an Achilles heel that I really thought would get somewhat corrected. But again, some of you call them the long rebounds off the 3 shots by Detroit. But the Suns win it. They win it the last couple of shots. But going back and forth, I'm like, damn, either Detroit's come that far or the Suns have fallen that far back in order for Detroit to be in this game.
Now, Detroit has made excellent progress this season, and they are contending to at least possibly be a play-in game team in the Eastern Conference.
You know what? It's interesting to watch Kevin Durant go to the rack as much as he did in that final quarter. I mean, I'm going to say this, Jimmy. You may have noticed, or I've noticed, the last 5 or 6 games, that's the most determined I've seen KD go to the rack. And best ball movement I've seen, and even though they've won, 6 out of the last 8, and 4 out of the last 6, the most bound determined in a fourth quarter by the ball movement and guys attacking the rim. Am I mistaken?
No, that's a very good perception. However, they are struggling right now in this game with 2 minutes left in the third, 85-68, Cleveland Cavaliers. You know, it's so funny. Everybody got so enamored with Nick Richards showing up and posting the double-double. Unfortunately for Nick Richards today, he has 2 points and 3 rebounds.
Jimmy,
so welcome to reality.
Why do you want to put ice water on my
I didn't
story,
mean
man?
to. I was just saying it's one game.
Why do you want to cool that story down? Suns fans were, hey,
I know.
Rick Richards, I mean, yeah, here's his line so far. 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Are you trying to tell us the reality is setting in with Nick Richards?
4 personal fouls.
Well, here's the thing. He started the day, came off the bench on Saturday.
He did. He started today.
Maybe they bring him off the bench. We'll see more production out of Nick Richards, but they said all along that he's going to be our starter.
Yes.
But I thought Plumlee gets up and down the court. Plumlee only had, 3-4 points in the Detroit game. You know, this is just a damn good Cleveland team.
They are.
I mean, you look at the line so far, and we're here in the third, minute 33 left in the third.
Yeah.
Getting ready to go. And the Suns they've already got 14 turnovers. I mean, you look at the Cavs, they only got 5 turnovers. So that those second chance points are, guys, put it this way, back up. The points off turnovers is what kills this Suns team. And then again, as far as offensive rebounds so far for the Cavs, 9 to the Suns 1. And you're thinking Nick Richards can help prevent those offensive rebounds. Here we are at the end of the third quarter.
Right.
And the Cavs have got 9 offensive rebounds so far. And they've already got the Suns being 14 turnovers so far. And you look at, okay, KD's got 23, Book's got 13, Tyus Jones got 11. And then on top of that, Allen's got 10. Bradley Bill is playing today. Let's say that. Bradley Bill is playing today.
Yes.
God, Bradley Bill is playing today. 5 points.
I was just going to say, how many points, Manuch?
He's got 5.
That's see, you can't have that. If he's even when he's coming off the bench, he has to be a scorer, and it's just not happening. Now, let me say this about the Cavaliers as well. Evan Mobley, one of their best players, a 7-footer, is not in the lineup today for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they are down one of their best players in Evan Mobley, and still they have a 17-point
Yeah,
lead.
but the guy that stirs the drink, Donovan Mitchell,
yes,
he's got 16 so far.
Yeah.
Garland 16, Allen 12. The balanced scoring and being here at DraftKings and having this big screen in front of us watching this Suns game is, Jimmy and I talked about it during the break, seeing the commitment to defense the Cavaliers are showing, the commitment to getting back, the commitment to getting out on the perimeter and defending against the three ball, the commitment to moving the ball. They just play. They're playing, and now that they're leading 90-70, Jimmy, they play in a different gear.
They do.
I mean, you think the Suns would be able to pick up on that, but they play in a different gear. The Suns look like they're trying to, but they just don't have the horses. So I don't know if this is the game that James Jones, as a general manager, Matt Ishbia as the owner, said, you know what, this is how far or how near we are to be able to compete with the top team in the NBA East. Either we're that far from competing against them.
They are that far.
They are that far. So what magic formula or magic pill are you going to take or go after that can get you to at least halfway to what they're seeing against this Cavs team now?
It's amazing to me to be watching this game, and we've been watching it the entire time while we've been doing the show, and how Cleveland goes about things, makes very few mistakes, makes shots not only behind the arc, but they drive the ball to the basket as well. And then to kind of, oh man, Donovan Mitchell, is that Donovan Mitchell again?
Yes.
Oh, and now he almost had a steal. At the end of the third quarter, 93-70, Suns losing to the Cavs.
And here's the thing you look at. You look at Cleveland, they're going 5 deep off the bench, right, Jimmy?
Yes, they do.
So you look at the scoring, they've got 16, they got 26 off the bench. But here's the thing I always look at. Turnovers off the bench. Just there's only 5 total turnovers by this Cavs team.
Okay.
Only 1 turnover off the bench. Okay.
That's
so look at the Suns.
Yeah.
Look at the Suns.
Okay.
They've got 14 turnovers. Okay. Not bad. Off the bench, they're only going 4 deep so far. 2 turnovers by Bradley Beal are the only ones. The efficiency and effectiveness with your guys off the bench, not to lose that momentum or to hold serve while your starters take a little bit of a break.
You know, for me, and Manuch, you referenced this, they're playing one of the top teams in the East, Milwaukee, Boston, and Cleveland. To me right now, those are the 3 top teams
I would agree.
in the East. It just goes to show you the disparity between where the Suns are right now and where the Eastern top contenders are. It's not close. Manuch, it shouldn't be that way. This should be a competitive game. And who knows, maybe in the fourth quarter, maybe they hit a few shots, but this should have been a very competitive game.
Yeah, currently 93-70. The Suns losing right now by 23. So what do you think Matt Ishbia is thinking about right now, Jimmy? He's all in. I'm happy. I'm a Suns fan since day one, going back to 1968, 1969. So what do you think he's thinking? So if this Suns team, you got your best of the best, everybody is healthy today. Everybody's playing, and who knows what the final score will be. Maybe they lose by 20 or 23. That you're looking at one of the best teams in the East to where the Suns are today. As I mentioned, who do you go after? What do you go after to try to, I don't know, even the score or get you on par to what you're playing against right now? So who's the magic pill? Who's the magic person? Who's the individual? Is it Jimmy Buckets?
Well,
is it Butler?
I don't know if they're going to get him. I mean, because they are so strapped with what they can do.
Okay, so
being on that second tier.
Okay, so with that being said,
okay,
minute and a half.
Where the hell do you go?
That's a great question.
Now you're
it's a great question.
Okay, if you can't afford it, you can't make the move.
Yeah,
you can't find a third partner to go get Jimmy Butler.
Yep,
Jimmy Buckets to help get another body on the court. because this isn't doing it. And I got to go get the hard dose of reality that it ain't going to happen for the Suns this year. And with contracts coming up and extensions coming up, all right, James Jones, all right, Matt Ishbia, if you get to the play-in and you fall short, you're just going to get hot all of a sudden. And let's say you do win the Western Conference title. You know what? That being a miracle itself. And if you do get to the NBA final against any one of the three teams you talked about,
okay, yep.
Are we going to see best 4 out of 7? I don't know. Somebody win 4 games to 1 and get blowouts because you couldn't compete with the NBA East. They've come out. They're that far right now.
They are that far away.
Okay, so riddle me this, Batman.
All right.
What the hell do you do? So Suns fans watching this game,
right?
I'm one of them.
I know you are.
Are you kidding me?
During the commercial breaks, Manuch is almost in tears.
20
He really is. Now they're down 25.
They're down 25.
Yeah.
And the Suns starters have been playing. They
played a lot of minutes.
Budenholzer still got the
boys
the boys into the situation. Okay, then in this game, so he's not going to clear the bench. Hell, there's still 11 minutes to go.
Oh yeah, they're going to play starters here for a while, but things are going south, and they have gone south in a hurry. All right, so right now 95-70 with about 10 and a half minutes left to go in the game. The Cavaliers having their way. Quick timeout. When we come back, receiver, former Cardinal receiver, who probably is a pretty good basketball player in his day as well. Frank Sanders is going to be our guest. We'll get his thoughts on Ohio State and Notre Dame tonight, and also kind of dive into what he watched over the weekend in the NFL playoffs as well. We're hanging out at TPC Scottsdale at Draftkings. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620 and 98.7 HD2.
touchdown.
Gonna go ahead and make Mike Salt here.
From Nick. Auburn's ahead.
Frank Sanders joins Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right here on ESPN 620.
Welcome back, everybody. Hanging out, TPC Scottsdale is where we're located at the Draftkings. Great place to watch tonight's championship college football game, Notre Dame and Ohio State. And we say good afternoon to Frank, who joins us right now on the Right Toyota guest line. Frank, before we start, let us begin with this. You have seen Ohio State and Notre Dame. You got a feel for this championship game tonight.
I do. Hey guys, how you guys doing? Happy Monday to you guys, man. This is gonna be a good game. I'm looking forward to being a really good game. I think my feelings, Jimmy B, is toward Ohio State. I think that they have a lot more players and talented players on their staff, and I believe Coach Ron Day is today, and I believe he's gonna get his guys ready to play 4 quarters of football and walk away with a national championship.
Isn't it interesting, Frank, to see a Chip Kelly-led offense slow it down, not be so haphazard and wear his linemen out? He's been said, hey, the biggest thing they did is slow the game down and allow the talent, to your point, and Will Howard get the ball down the field, be a little more meticulous, or allow them to, that was a big word for you Auburn guys,
really, yeah.
and to matriculate their
matriculated down the football field, but I'm actually looking for some expialidocious, explosive plays down the field from these guys, man. I really would like to see Mr. Smith go out and make some plays. Look, on the outside, when it comes down to it, Ohio State has the most. They have the better players on the outside. They have more engines, faster players, more talented players on the outside, especially when it comes to the skill between the running backs position as well as the wide receivers. But when you look at the way Mr. Howard, the quarterback from Ohio State, just stood toe-in-toe with Eels over in Texas, and he just made throw after throw, play after play, I really believe this Ohio State team is the better team tonight. Again, we know Notre Dame is probably going to try to take the plan of what Michigan did, which is kind of dumb it down, be a little bit more in the running game, kind of try to keep their athletes off the field. And if that plan works, then again, Notre Dame will walk away with the win. We got 2 great coaches that are motivated by the opportunity to seize this moment. You got 2 coaches that know how to motivate their players on how to play. And it really should come down to that. And again, I hope to see a good football game. I don't want to see a blowout.
You know, what can you appreciate about the Chip Kelly offenses, Frank, especially this year or maybe over the years that you appreciate? And then this young receiver, Tremaine Smith, true freshman.
Jeremiah.
I'm sorry, Jeremiah Smith. I think it's Tremaine Johnson there, former Ohio State Buckeye. What do you appreciate about that young man, and then how that's incorporated into this offense?
You know what, Chip Kelly is actually he's taken a back seat in ways and tried to create more of a pro-style offense. The Chip Kelly we typically know is the Oregon, and he is go on the line. You know, it's fast and furious, and he's kind of slowed down, and I like that because now he's allowing the quarterback to read the football field, 5-step, 7-step drop backs, sitting in a pocket where he can allow his speed and his receivers to kind of get downfield a lot more. Remember, Oregon in that offense he had was very, very fast, always on the go, and it wasn't like a 2-minute offense; it was a 1-minute offense primarily. And he did the same thing when he got into the NFL, but he realized he was burning the engine of those players. So his evolution is to slow it down, be more creative in his plays, use his tight end a lot more, and be attacking in different areas.
Frank Sanders
that is something that's been good to see.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Frank Sanders is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. All right, I'll fire the teams at you from the games over the weekend, and then you give me the 30-second response on each one. We'll start first. Kansas City and the Houston Texans. Your response is?
It pays to be in that red and yellow outfit right now because the black and white outfits seem to be on the same team. It's just amazing how it's playing out.
Travis Kelce, here he is, 12, 13, 14 years in the league, hasn't missed a beat. 18 completions on the day, 7 going to Travis Kelce with a touchdown. The magic of he and Patrick Mahomes is truly amazing to me, Frank.
Oh, it really is, man. But if you can have your same quarterback that length of time with a great mind and Andy Reid, these guys are just. When you look at the triangle offense, that is the essence of the triangle offense in regards to a coach and 2 players, man, that makes the plays. It's like watching Shaq, Kobe, and your boy Phil Jackson.
There you go. All right, let's go to Buffalo and Baltimore. Your response.
Go, Buffalo, go.
Go, Buffalo, go. But you got to hate to be Mark Andrews on this Monday morning. I mean, like, really, this guy is a pillar of the community. He is a great player on that team. He's been nothing but an all-pro tight end, and him and Lamar Jackson has made a plethora of plays down the lineage of their timeline together as teammates. But it's just a really tough loss, man. I really hated to see Lamar come out and start the way he did. That was definitely a fumbling performance in the first half of the game. But the second half got really pretty, and he gave his team a chance. But unfortunate to be Mark Andrews this morning, it's just not a good feeling.
So what do you think the top speed is when Saquon Barkley hits a home run? Is he at a 4.25, pushing about 25 miles an hour, and he hits the hole like that, Frank?
I mean, when he hits the hole like that, man, it's a special thing to watch. I mean, when you're watching him, all you got to do is say, man, New York really effed that up really bad. Like, they really screwed that up. Like, from the general manager to the head coach to no one that will walk in that office and fight for him alone is absolutely ridiculous. And I just look at the way he's playing right now for Philly. You have to be excited. That kid, that young man, that father of a child, a husband, is absolutely one of the best running backs I have ever seen play the game of football.
Last but not least, if you have 4 turnovers in a game, I don't care who you are, who you're playing, you're going to probably end up losing that game. Well, what a debacle, Jared Goff and that offense for the Detroit Lions. But Jaden Daniels and that offense, the Commanders taking advantage of those turnovers.
Look, this Jaden Daniels is the conversation. You're absolutely right. Jared Goff you talking about butterflies in the stomach, or just not rising to the moment, or just a bad time to have a bad day when you only get one game to really try to make it play. And I just sad for him in that area. But when you look at the way Jaden Daniels just played, no interceptions, been dominating as a quarterback, from the mental game to the physical game to just.
You guys are good to wrap whenever. Coming up on a minute.
I stopped talking about how well he looks and how comfortable he looks, and as he's out making plays on the sideline. So kudos to what they're doing. Because I'd always say I'm the only guy that that has a Cliff Kingsbury tattoo on his arm, because I bet against him and I better stop.
Well, speaking of outstanding offensive coordinators, how excited would one Frank Sanders be playing for the Chicago Bears if you knew your new head coach was going to be Ben Johnson, who's pretty much taken the Lions to a new level as the offensive coordinator now, reportedly as the head coach of the Bears?
You know what? That's a funny thing right there. Because you see him be the offensive coordinator with a very talented group of players, but also a very experienced quarterback in Jared Goff. And so that in itself says that was a good match. Look at Sam Darnold when he got an experienced offensive coordinator, and then he had some talent around him. You can really see these guys explode talent-wise and just on the performance. Now you have a new coach that's coming in with a rookie quarterback, and again, Caleb Williams showed a lot of positives and then some negatives. So we give him the 50-50 grade on that. It's going to be good in that regard. I just wish Chicago would have went bigger. I wish they would have went bigger. They got a bigger fan base that deserved a bigger name of somebody that can just garnish players to come in and that can fight. I mean, they got a good guy and a good name that has performed well for Detroit, but I wish they would have got a bigger name of the guys that was out there that was looking for a job.
Yeah, the Niners thought they'd have got a bigger name too, and they hired a guy named Bill Walsh. And 4 Super Bowls later with him, those kind of things can happen. Hey, real quick, getting all the things that are going on in the National Football League. Your thoughts final thoughts on what you're seeing overall in the playoffs. The Cardinals could desperately use that's a commonality with these teams moving forward.
They're going to need some guys on that front four on that defense, 100%. You need leadership at that Mike linebacker or a strong safety position. I think we got a good person in Budda Baker back there, but that front four or five is just, they got to be dominating. Everyone has a front four that can get at you from the defensive side of the ball. But when it comes to the offensive side, look, the playmakers got to go out and make plays, but you're looking at some really talented coaches calling plays and putting guys in position. We look at Philly last night, and there were nothing explosive about that offense, but they made plays that was just enough to win. And I think when you look at Jaden Daniels and what they're doing over there, these guys, these offensive coordinators have gotten really creative on using their quarterback and putting him in positions, man, where they can go out and make plays, whether that be with their arm or with their leg.
Did you win money this weekend on the course? Because you are sharp today, right? You are on fire,
brother.
man.
I lost so much money this weekend. I remember every way I lost it. It doesn't matter. From the kicker to the water boy to the field to the temperature outside. I lost so much money, but it was a great weekend.
There you go. Yeah, for all your friends, not you.
That is true. I lost every which way you could name it, man. It did not matter. I tried to get back in the second half of the game, the first half of the game. It did not matter. I'm a parlay guy, so I'm always gambling heavy. I'm trying to get 4 and 5 tiers, man, to try to get that $27,000 so I can retire again.
Well, you can get your butt down here to DraftKings and play some of your bets here at the window. We're down here. We're going to be out another 15 minutes. You can see myself and Jimmy B and Jax and enlighten your day.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. But DraftKings has been so good to me on my app and my phone, mobile-wise. I don't have to go down and see them. They send me so many notifications on what I need to do, and I just don't pay out right now.
You're the best, Frank. You are the absolute best. Thank you, brother. Have a good day.
Thanks, Frank. All right, brother. Have a good one, man.
There you go. There you go. Frank Sanders, everybody. His honesty on the show. Frank's presented by Twin Peaks and the fantastic tailgating sweepstakes. Right now, just text Peaks to 59925. That's Peaks to 59925. We have an amazing grand prize, which we will be giving away here in another week or so. No purchase necessary. Standard message, data rates apply. Just text Peaks to 59925. There's more details if you go to rockandmanuch.com. All right, coming up, we'll do our Learn and Row one call. That's all. Also, results of today's State 48 roofing. It's your call question of the day. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B hanging out today. TPC Scottsdale at DraftKings. ESPN 620.
It's the Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all call of the day. If you're looking for a full-service law firm, just make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Only if it's wide open, you keep running. 18 yards. There goes Barkley.
Make the mics hot.
He's hit another home run against the Rams. And this one might send him to the championship game.
Well, it did. Thank you to NBC Sports for that Saquon Barkley highlight. He only rushed for 205 yards in the game yesterday. And that is our Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all. Interact, need a check. Just make one call. 602-977-1900. Always at lernerandrowe.com. They can help you, and you get a free consultation. Again, just make one call, that's all. Lerner and Rowe, 602-977-1900. All right, let's do a little What's on Tap. It's all presented by the Roc and Manuch Amber by Dos Equis. And it is the college football playoff championship game tonight. It features Ohio State and Notre Dame. It'll be played in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Once again, it is tonight, the college football championship game. Manuch, we always try to check on 48 Roofing. It's your call question of the day. What do you got?
Well, that being today, it is our State Farm Roofing. It's your call question of the day. Now that the Commanders have defeated the number 1 seeded Lions, what chance do you give them to beat the Eagles for the NFC Championship game? Again, just go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter. You give them a 100% chance. You give them a 75% chance. How about a 50% chance? Now, let's look at a 25% chance. Well, currently, leader in the clubhouse, fans have voted. Again, go to @Roc and Manuch. Folks are giving them 50% are saying they give them a 25% chance.
Okay.
And we got a tie, which is surprising. 25% have voted for both 50% and 75% chance. I voted 50% chance just because of their offense, just because I think that how do I put this way? I haven't seen slow down once Saquon Barkley and put pressure on Jalen Hurts. I think they might have that chance. That's why I said I'm going to give them a 50% chance at this point in time.
Manuch, in your estimation, are the New York Giants the biggest losers in all of this since they let Saquon Barkley walk?
So freaking lutely. You know what? I mean, and here's the thing. Sometimes that's a two-way street. If they feel that we've got this outstanding running back or player, that if we're going nowhere fast, and they were. Okay, Danny Dimes, he was struggling at quarterback. You only had Danny Dimes and the rookie receiver coming in, Saquon. They figured, you know what?
6 minutes.
The value is if we can trade one Saquon Barkley or not re-sign him, whatever the mechanism is, then we move on. We save money. We do some things where we're going to rebuild the Giants. I can almost assuredly tell you that Saquon Barkley probably did not want to come back to the Giants because of the rebuild of going nowhere fast. So I believe that's a two-way street. And lucky for him, the Eagles went, oh, my gosh, he's available.
Yeah.
You want to come here? Because I really felt Saquon Barkley was probably that missing piece to this team having a chance to beat the Eagles of winning it all once again, the Super Bowl. And it turned out great for him. And a lot of folks are going, well, the Giants have got to be crying in their milk. And I say, wait a second. And they've probably felt by either not re-signing him or allowing him to move on instead of whether it's a trade or it's not re-signing him in free agent. We're not going to pay that kind of money and keep him on the team where we can go ahead and make some trades, do some things to incorporate more value to bring to this team and rebuild the Giants.
But Manuch, he walked. They got nothing for him.
That's exactly it. But
that's terrible.
In the meantime, did they want to pay $25 million a year?
Well,
and as opposed to going after more needs, Jimmy. So if they're not re-signing him, they want to pay him, let's say $25, $30 million or whatever it is. We can spend that money where we got 2 or 3 guys to help build this versus keep Saquon, pay him the money, then I think that's one of those decisions you make. Like, damn, we hate to see him go.
Yeah,
because he helps. Maybe he's worth 2 more wins, but does that get them to the playoffs? Does that get them to a point where they're going to have a chance to go to the playoffs and build on that? And quite frankly, I think Brian Daboll had a lot to say. We don't have the horses to continue, so why not allow him to move on? We save that money. We save those situations around him so we can go ahead and rebuild. In the meantime, you hate to see a guy go somewhere in your own division, number one, with Philadelphia, Dallas, and the Commanders and the Cowboys. So I think those are some of the things that factored into that.
Okay. The Suns are getting ready to drop this game, and they're going to drop it big. About a minute 15 left. It's 118-92 with the Cleveland Cavaliers handling the Suns. The score, now that we're in garbage time, will probably look better than what it actually was because the Suns were trailing by 30 in this game at one time in the fourth quarter.
And before we get out of here, just for you Chicago Bear fans, it looks like you've got your new head coach. Looks like Ben Johnson. I'll just still say the OC for the Detroit Lions until it's officially official, which it sounds like it's going to be.
Right.
Is going to be your new head coach. And I thought it was interesting, Frank Sanders saying, I thought they would have went bigger. And I thought
bigger
about
name.
that.
He was
bigger name.
Bigger, yeah.
More experience.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I felt Mike McCarthy was the guy for the Chicago Bears. I would have preferred Mike McCarthy. I would have hired Mike McCarthy. Been there, done that, knows what it takes to build a team, understands what exactly is needed, the offensive side, the defensive side. Mike McCarthy's a whole package. Ben Johnson's a newbie as a head coach. He's going to be a newbie. He's a fine offensive coordinator, but there's still so many dots he has to connect as a head coach. Why not hire the Mike McCarthys of the world? Why not hire a guy that's taken the Dallas Cowboys to the playoffs, 4 out of his 5 years?
Right.
With the Dallas Cowboys. Unless the only thing I can think of, Jimmy, that they didn't hire Mike McCarthy because he'd be too demanding of what is needed by this team and the general manager to be somewhat, I say this in jest, intimidated. He understands what it takes, and maybe the full commitment from the general manager and the McCaskey family is not there. That's the only reason why. You hired Ben Johnson over Mike McCarthy? Really?
They did.
Why? Why? Because he's the hot commodity. So all the things that Mike McCarthy's done over the years with the Packers and what he's done with the Cowboys and his time as a coordinator have gone by the wayside. Don't you think he knows how to? He's a great carpenter that's built many houses or many buildings. When you got a guy that's a hell of a this guy's, Ben Johnson, he's a hell of a carpenter, but is he a good developer? You see what I'm saying?
I understand it.
So I don't know. That's kind of interesting to me. I think he's the kind of the new kid on the block. He's the sexy pick.
The sexy pick.
And he's going to come in.
The Suns game, mercifully, is over. 118-92.
Ouch.
118-92. The Suns get lit up by the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Tomorrow I'll be in studio, Jimmy. Lucky Connor for that.
Yeah.
Cal Dodd will join us. We'll have our GCU segment. Bobby Mack will join us. And Kyle Vandenbosch all joining us mañana right here with Jimmy B. Manuch and Rock all going on.
30 seconds. All right. By the way, here at TPC Scottsdale Draftkings, this is the place you want to be. Get your wager in and enjoy the college football playoff game tonight, Notre Dame and Ohio State. Thank you to everybody here at DraftKings at TPC. We've had a great time. For Jax Manuch,